Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, cushions, couches, ottomans, maybe of the empire. We are here at the square table communion. There's a pause and a hint of concern because Kevin is looking up an accusation I made.
You fucking liar! There are no.
He doesn't say it?
He does not say promise in Disco Inferno.
Damn. Alright, well, you got me, E. You got me.
He does say self-destruct.
He does. I saw that written in the lyrics multiple times.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, since we are still figuring this out as we go and just trying to get a good feel for it, we'll just get right into it. So, what's new with y'all?
Who's starting?
Looking at you, Danny.
I guess we're starting with you, Danny.
Looking at you.
Okay, well, I will start. My week has been pretty fantastic.
Good.
I've been playing more Pokemon Snap.
Mm-hmm.
The two of you are aware. I just finished all available quests.
What was it, 213?
213 total requests to unlock and finish. I've finished 212 of them. There is currently one quest in the game that is impossible to clear because of a patch, the day one patch.
It is bugged.
It's bugged.
Like a Beedrill.
So I have to wait for a patch if I want to check that off the list.
Makes sense.
I have gotten all of the Pokemon registered. I think there's probably about 213, maybe. Give or take. Maybe less than that.
Well, because for a good Pokemon Snap game, I think that beats the first one by a lot.
A lot.
Insanely. Like 150-ish. The first one only had 51 Pokemon in it, I think.
Yeah, it's probably about 4 times bigger. And there's... do you remember how many maps are in the 64 one?
Oh, man, there's like...
6?
Yeah, 6 or 7. There's not a lot.
6, and then the final one.
Oh, you mean
just
go through the cloud and throw pester balls at Mew until you can take a picture of it for 3 seconds?
Yes.
Yeah.
You were close.
There's 24 different maps in this one.
Is that including the day and night?
Yes.
So
that's still a lot,
have
though.
a day and night cycle.
Well, yeah, so there's 8 zones where each one has 3, except for 1 or 2, which only has 2.
There are some areas that only have the one,
the first Lumina spot? Or
aluminum spots are basically the boss levels.
Huge air quotes on that.
Yeah, you could see them as boss levels. It's not too big of a stretch, but yeah, so 24 areas, usually a day-night cycle. If not that, then it's just a one-time thing. Like Volcano doesn't have day and night cycle, but it's just a volcano.
Yeah.
But then you can break it down further by leveling up the areas, and most areas level up to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you level up, it changes the Pokemon that are present, or makes them friendlier, or moves along.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the level up system, that's the researcher level?
Yes. The research level, yes.
Yep.
And to level that up, you need to get enough different unique pictures of high enough quality in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through and maxed out every map. The only thing I basically have left to do besides the one quest is to go back and get pictures of all the different poses of several Pokemon that I've missed. A decent amount of them. I don't have all 4 pictures.
Right.
I also started just a little bit of Mass Effect. The what's it called? The Master Collection or something?
The Legacy...
The Insane Trilogy.
The Legendary Edition.
The Insane...
The N7 Trilogy.
The N7 Legendary Trilogy. I've only gotten through the starting level, Eden Prime.
Yep.
Already some pretty crazy stuff happening. I've played them all before. I'm excited to go back through. But I personally wish that the multiplayer was still a feature, because I loved the multiplayer.
You played the shit out of the 3 multiplayer back in the day.
I'm actually happy that the multiplayer is not in it.
That's disgusting. And it's my turn to talk, so you just wait. Okay.
All right.
Other than that,
Savage Dan over here.
yeah. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I haven't been playing much Rise. Haven't been playing much anything else, just those and lots of work. How about, let's go to you, John.
I can talk now.
Yes.
How
do you feel about Mass Effect 3 multiplayer?
So I've gotten, disregarding the last word of your question, I have gotten a little bit farther than you have in the first one.
Okay.
And so Mass Effect 1 of the trilogy, the Legendary Edition. And I got extremely distracted on the Citadel.
Okay.
Is there like a lot of stuff to do there?
For those who are unaware, Kevin, pretend to be unaware. The first time you go to the Citadel, Kevin...
What? No. I am unaware of the first one. I never played the first one. I only played two.
There you go.
He is unaware.
This is regarding the first
I'm
one.
not pretending. We'll go.
Okay. Well, this is really good pretending.
Okay.
After the first mission, you go straight to the Citadel. Mm-hmm. It does not gatekeep a single thing.
Not at all.
The whole thing is open, and there is just like so many quests. And the game's like, there's plot. You have to run around, talk to these people. This is happening over here now. We have information, but we need to go over here. There's a shootout over here. And all the side quests and everything. You spend so much time in the Citadel. Mm-hmm. You do not go to other planets forever.
Well, for a while.
So 4 ever or 5 ever?
I'd say 3 ever.
I would say 5 ever, but more in a sarcastic.
Okay, so it's like a soft 5 ever.
Yeah, if I were to be hating on the game. Okay, you know how I always complain about Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
The tutorial. That's a 5 ever tutorial.
It is a 5 ever tutorial.
Yes. This is not that ridiculous. And what's going on is far more interesting than there's a mysterious train that some people sometimes see. Let's go see if we can see it.
You're telling me you don't give a shit about the 7 or 8 wonders of Twilight Town?
Kevin, sometimes if you look in the cave, you can hear a voice. Let's go check it out. There's more stairs going down than going up.
But wait
Let's
a minute.
go investigate.
Was it Rage counted and he's just stupid? So he probably miscounted.
Yeah.
So back to Mass Effect before you get too down that tunnel.
Oh, you're fine.
Down that train tunnel.
It's your turn to talk after all.
You are correct. Sort of a great day.
Blessed.
So I got done with the first stop at the Citadel.
Nice. Only 10 hours in then, huh?
Pretty much. He's not joking.
Oh, I believe it.
So I got to the Citadel. By the way, in Mass Effect 1, you can get on your first stop to the Citadel your entire squad minus 1 person.
Nice.
On the first trip. Mind you, that's only 3 characters.
It's not a lot of characters in the first game.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Nowhere near as much as 2, for example.
But you do get the best character in the first game.
Do you get Garrus?
Yes.
Garrus is really cool.
That's not who I'm referring to, but
Is it Rex?
Yes.
Rex is also a great character, but that's also not who I'm referring to.
Oh, is it the chick with the weird helmet?
The chick with the weird helmet.
Yeah.
That's her.
Did you have the really like creepy picture of her on your computer?
You're talking
Out of context, that's a beautiful statement.
Yes, it is.
You're talking about...
It's Talia, right? Or
Talia.
Yeah.
It's not Talia.
Is it Tali?
It's Tali.
Okay.
Tali Zora Vas Raya in the first game. Not to sound like Eric, but but the point being is that you basically, because in spoilers, if you haven't played Mass Effect 1, obviously,
Wow.
your crew can consist of yourself, in terms of your squad. It's yourself, Ashley, Caden, Garrus, Rex, Liara, and Tali.
Okay.
And that's it.
Was Liara the Shadow Borger?
Yes, but not yet.
That is also
That's 2.
that's spoilers for 2 and 3.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of this really stupid image I saw with Liara.
If you have that saved, you have to send it to Ian.
I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, no.
It's been lost for years.
It's stuck
Now it exists
in a black hole.
only in memory.
Yes. Which the Asari are very good at bringing out during sex, apparently.
Okay, the Asari,
What?
that is a thing.
I'm not
They just
lying.
make black holes during sex?
No, memories.
Memories. We're talking memories. They probably do that
Sorry,
too.
I was...
Asari are
Was she the one that had the... Was it Singularity? Is that the move?
Yes.
That is
That's-
a adept move,
Biotic
yes.
move.
Yes. And so I got there, and now I'm in the process. Oh, I remember where I stopped. I'm on Earth's moon.
Oh, nice.
I'm dealing with that side quest.
I do recall hearing the enemy is everywhere quite a bit.
Yeah. That... You leave the Citadel, and you start looking at the map. Admiral Hackett is like, Shepard, we've got a rogue VI going haywire on the moon around Sol. Go fix it. And I'm just like, sounds good, boss, as I give him the finger guns. And then I start looking at other places. It was at that point, once that message from him was done, I forgot where the quest was. And I was like, huh, there's all these interesting places. What's this local cluster? I go there, I go to Earth, and I'm like, oh. I start going like Mercury, Venus, Mars, Earth, but there's also Luna. And I was like, I click on Luna, and it's like, land. I'm like, weird.
Did you get to drive the Mako?
Yeah. So you get to drive the Mako, which is a 6-wheeled buggy, essentially, with a cannon
Okay.
and an auto gun.
I heard they tweaked it. Does it control okay?
Yes.
I haven't gotten to the Mako yet.
It controls okay.
It controlled so bad.
In the
I remember
first,
Eric
yeah.
hating it in
Yep.
the first
It was
one.
legendary how bad it was. And also you're in space, so it's space physics, which doesn't help anything.
I think they fixed Luna's gravity, because it's not like whee. Because like what I had to do was I was just driving around on Luna, again, not remembering that I had a quest there, and then all of a sudden I'm driving on Luna and I see the symbols on the minimap for enemies. I'm like, what? And so I had to like do the Skyrim and just kind of like wheel my way up a mountain. And eventually I just saw the cannons and I'm like,
This guy is accepting quests and not even keeping track.
Correct. I've still got like 6 more random assignments, as well as the 2 main ones.
Yeah.
And I'm in the process of cleaning up Luna, is where I ended.
So this Mako, it has, besides just being generally slow, it has a jetpack that shoots straight down, so it lifts you up.
So you can jump with it, essentially.
You can jump and hit higher areas.
It is not that graceful now.
There was one time in the original game, I was climbing a very steep hill, and just like Skyrim, you can, if you give it time, you can shimmy your way up most anything. And I was really close to the top, and I was like, I'm so close, I'm just gonna boost to get up there, and went because it shoots you straight out. So
Yep.
I just like disembarked from the hill, and then gravity just brought me all the way down. I was just like,
Excuse me.
my failures. I was just like, oh,
Your hand motion for that was so gentle, and
What
it
have I
really helped me visualize just how soft of a tuft of hair that came out from underneath you.
It
Or
was just
propulsion,
like
I should say.
It was just like and all it took was that trajectory to know I messed up. So it was just a tap,
Yep.
and it was just like all the way back down. I was just like, oh no.
So now, either it's been a very long time since I played 1, or I just don't remember. It's like at most a 2-second burst.
Okay,
I remember it being a lot more.
I don't remember.
But
Maybe you
it's
can upgrade it?
maybe, but like the whole thing is like, I was just driving around and I was like, oh yeah, I can jump, and it goes, and I'm just like, I can jump higher than that.
And it goes, meh.
Kinda, yeah. It was weird. But my biggest thing that I enjoy about the remake, or the remaster, I should say,
of the first one, because none of us are very far.
Correct. God, it looks so much better.
Okay, have you seen? They've put out endless videos of side-by-side comparisons.
I haven't been on any kind of social media or anything in months. So
specifically, Ashley looked so gross in the original game. And now she looks like she did in the third game, which is still kind of gross.
Whoa.
But like, not bad at all.
Whoa.
Whoa yourself, sir.
Wow.
Do you disagree with my statement?
I don't think she looked gross.
In the new one.
In the first one, yes. She looked very low poly. But that's because it was, what, a 14-year-old game?
Not when it came out.
When the Mass Effect 1 came out, yes.
It wasn't a 14-year-old game when Mass Effect 1 came out.
No, it was 14 years ago. Shut up, Danny.
When is the point of time that you're referring to that was 14 years ago?
Mass Effect 1 came out like 14, 15 years ago.
Okay.
And so then Mass Effect 1 reflected that. It looked very polygonal. For the most part.
By today's standards, especially.
Yes. When you've got, like, cutscenes like Final Fantasy 15, a lot of things just 10 years ago look a lot older.
Well, that's also Square Enix.
Very true.
Making, like, one of the last companies that makes really crazy-looking FMVs, so... I miss FMVs.
Well, because I was also, like, I've always been a huge fan of, like, Blizzard cinematics.
Yeah, because they're always, like, super top tier and fucking awesome.
I would go so far as to say is, like, they were one of the, maybe not originators, but those are, like, one of the big ones for me. Because at the time, like, the Warcraft 3 cinematics, which were, like, mid-90s, seeing, like, Archimond, this big blue demon guy, creating a sand representation of a floating city and just swatting it down, the sand version, and watching the actual version fall apart. Did you play Mass Effect Did you play Warcraft 3?
I did. It was a very, very big game in my childhood.
Do you remember that Archimond cinematic?
Yes.
Like,
with the two brothers fighting him.
No. Where he makes the sand representation of Dalaran.
Oh, yeah.
And he just, like, swats it, and, like, a bunch of the towers just crumble.
Who's I thinking? Manaroth?
You are thinking of Manaroth. He was the pit fiend that was fighting, Grommash, Hellstream, and Thrall.
It looks so cool, Kevin, if you've never seen this cutscene.
No, I've not seen anything Warcraft.
He just, like, makes this little magic circle. You just explained it.
Yep.
And it's just, you see the sand particles just making buildings. And he just, like, looks at one and holds it, and just does this, and looks up, and the corresponding building just straight collapses.
That's pretty cool.
And then he's monologuing the whole time about evil speech, blah, blah, blah. And then he just goes like this, and just, like, wipes his arm through the whole
Okay, because the what you did looks like he just hugged it.
He kind of.
But
he's just like, forget all this, and just like...
And this was a time where I loved their storytelling, like, more than I do now, where what happened was, as he was doing that, essentially, if I remember correctly, a bunch of mages in Dalaran were just like, yeah, no, bye, and teleported Dalaran away.
I believe that was probably not in the original, but instead added in post.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yes, they escaped destruction and became super isolated. Forever? Question mark asterisk?
Watching, like, the, what was it, Illidan Arthas fight in Frozen Throne.
I have seen that one. That one is really cool.
And then there was someone, blessed be the people and fans of Blizzard, who took several cinematics. We are going on a huge tangent, by the way, folks.
Massive tangent.
Who took some of the cinematics from Warcraft 3 and made them 4K remastered as just personal volunteer projects. One of them was that fight, and there were a few others, and I'm just like, oh my god. And I love it. I love it. You know,
It's pretty great.
getting back on topic, if I may.
Yes.
Honestly, it's really just been Mass Effect, a little bit of HOTS, a little bit of WoW, not Rise, because I'm kind of at the point you were before the 2.0 update came out, and D&D, and that's it.
Nice. Kevin, how about you?
Just a fuck ton of Final Fantasy.
Just 14
14 and 4.
and 4. Okay.
Yeah. And work.
4 and the teen.
They did just put out, was it
The keynote for
The
Endwalker?
The amazing. So I know nothing about what's happening in that trailer. Massive spoilers if we get to it, by the way. I know nothing what's happening in that trailer other than the moon that was shown was the one from 4, right?
It's probably not the one from 4, but it is a lot of references to 4. There were a ton of references to 4 in everything they were showing, which made me super happy.
Yeah. They're bringing up a new class.
2 new classes.
2? I thought it was only 1.
Sage and Reaper.
Oh. Who was the sage in the trailer?
I think Y'shtola? No, wait, Y'shtola's like a black mage.
Yeah, I was about to say Ishtola.
It was, Alphanot or his sister, one of the two. Like, I'm still... Because when the first time I played through 14, I did not give 2 shits about the story.
Wait.
So on this playthrough, for me, I'm kind of catching up on everything, so...
Alphanod's the brother, right?
Yes.
Was Alphanod the one that had, like, the 4, like, needle beam looking things?
So whoever that was the Sage.
I believe that was Alphanod.
Okay.
Because his sister was the one who got injured.
Yes, that's right, she was a red mage at the beginning.
And so, okay. And then potentially seeing, like, the twins' father was something that I saw theory crafted.
Maybe.
Like, in the trailer?
They are talking about going back to, like, their hometown, which is something else they were talking about during that event.
Mm-hmm. And so, there was someone I watch frequently on YouTube, or not as frequently as I'd like, probably, but he did a, like, live stream reaction to the trailer and the keynote and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he was streaming with someone else, and they were losing their damn minds. Like, at what was being shown and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting here like, that was a great trailer. No fucking clue what's happening. But it was great.
You need to get into 14 to figure it out.
No, I feel like I'd have to
really
play
good.
some content from a long time ago to be able to know what's going on.
Just watch some. Just speed through main scenario. That's what I did. watch some. I've been watching videos on the side while I've been grinding stuff.
Yeah.
And when you get pretty much when you beat main scenario after you beat Ultima Weapon, that's when it starts getting fun. Not saying main scenario is bad because it's not.
Right. Because, like, when I was playing it, I definitely stopped. Maybe not full stop, but I've put a pause on it. I was trying to level up to 80. And I'm at 74? And so, me just continuously just grinding dungeons. I was like, I don't miss this.
You should largely be able to level up just by questing.
And story.
And the story questing.
I've been told otherwise, that the faster route is through dungeons.
Not
But-
that it wouldn't be faster, but you would still need to do the story quests anyway.
Correct. But I think the reasoning was that if I get to 80, then there's at that point nothing hindering me from doing quests.
It is true. But a lot of dungeons are gate locked behind the story as well. So you have to progress far enough to unlock
Yeah.
those for your...
Vicious cycle.
Yeah, It's a fun loop. 14 does it exceptionally well.
Yeah. Because there was people talking about... I remember hearing people talking about how, like, WoW is once again hitting that point of, like, it's slipping down the slippery slope.
I've been hearing that too.
And then 14, especially with it being better now compared to launch, is starting to just be like a fun romp for people. It's starting to feel kind of like that MMO scratch, that MMO itch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if WoW has just burnt me out over the years. I have a hard time sticking to MMOs nowadays.
Maybe you just have less time as an adult.
Well, I have more time now because we're only recording once a week, but I'm very quickly finding other things to fill those gaps, though. But that's beside the point.
Are you particularly excited about either of those two classes?
Not really. Sage is more interesting to me. Reaper definitely looks cool. Never been big on the whole kind of Bloodborne-y, hunter-looking guy since high school sort of thing.
Okay.
But it's, it just looks like a fun DPS class. Then, just sticking with my monk.
Okay. There's always been a slight downside whenever they release a new DPS class. Is that the queue times for DPS
skyrocket? Yep. That's why you got to level a healer and a tank. You got to have, as one of my friends calls it, the triad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you queue with a healer or tank in the party,
instant. Yeah.
Yeah. So like.
That's why I'm going to go scholar, I guess, is the healer I've been told to start with.
Scholar, as I understand it, is very easy to start with.
Doesn't Scholar turn into Astrologian?
No.
Is that a different class?
That's a different class.
Gotcha.
Which
also,
I played that one. That was
is
fun.
Monk turn into Pugilist?
Pugilist turns into monk.
Oh. I had it backwards.
Yeah.
Who was the dude on the moon? Do you know? Do you know?
I don't even remember. Ever since I had COVID, my short-term memory is fucking shot, so I'd have to see a picture of him again.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either like the bad guy from Stormblood, I think, or it's just there like the Warrior of Light that they put in the trailers.
Well, because like for me, it just kind of looks like not to give Squeenix a bad rap on it, it kind of just looks like your general like brown-haired dude that you'd find in 14.
It sounds like it would be Warrior of Light then.
Probably. Yeah.
Anything else you've been doing, Kevin?
Art.
How's your 4 run coming along?
I still really love that game story. I'd like the gameplay less and less the further in I get. It's very
Monotonous?
Not monotonous, because it's not bad. It's a lot of everything has a counter very early on in the game.
Okay.
And I don't like that in JRPGs because it just drags them out for me.
Sure.
So, like things you'll hit them and they'll start hitting you with stop or slow. Or, they'll cast like poison or some kind of sap on the entire, just stuff like that.
So it leads to tedious gameplay.
Very tedious.
That's what the new Bravely second game did.
Mm-hmm.
All the bosses have something that they counter. And so it's going in blind, figuring out what they don't like, and then either brute forcing through it anyway, or restarting and respecking and moving around, and then going back in.
Yeah.
Brute force 9 times out of 10.
And you can't really do that in this one unless you're super over-leveled, which I don't have the patience to grind out that much. I'm over-leveled, which it wasn't too bad to do that. But I'm at the 3rd Elemental Fiend, which is Barbarisia. And I remember doing that fight initially on the DS when it came out. And she just counters physical attacks like a huge lightning attack that hits everyone. And then magic she counters with like a whirlwind that just brings everyone down to like single or double digit HP.
It sounds awful.
Yeah. So like literally the first time I fought her, the fight was over in like 15 seconds because I had everyone just attack, and she was just like, "No, you're all dead." And so you have to have, I think, Yang, the monk, he can attack through her wind for whatever reason. So you have him sit there and focus, which just gives him like attack buffs. And you have him just do these big nuke hits every like 3 or 4 turns. And then you get Kane the Dragoon, and he can jump. And he'll go like through her whirlwind at the top, and that's how he hits her. So it's essentially you have 2 people able to attack while everyone else is just kind of keeping everyone else up.
That sounds like forced character progression, and I don't like it. Because it sounds like you specifically have to get through a fight because of 1 or 2 people being able to actually do their job, and everyone else is practically useless.
I don't have a problem with that in theory. The part that I would not like is if you can choose your own party members at any time, and then for that fight you need to bring those 2. Even if I already have them in my party, if I didn't, I'd have to switch over and then start leveling them up and gearing them. And it'd be a whole nother thing. And it's like, I can't play it the way I want to. But if they're forced in the party, which as I understand, 4 does that.
Yes, there's a lot of... you don't have your full team until late in the game, I believe.
Okay.
And which, that's another thing I'm not really big on with it. But go on.
So yeah, since they're already there, it makes sense that they might be more effective at times.
Right.
Then there's also Tella, the spoony bard yelling sage guy, which I like him as a character. His story's good, his reasoning's good. The only problem is because he's technically, spoilers, he's supposed to die at actually this point in the game I'm at right now by casting Meteor on Golbez trying to kill him. Well, Meteor takes 99 MP, and the whole thing is he's not strong enough to use it, and by using Meteor it kills him. So they make Meteor cost 99 MP. Well, his MP never goes over 90 the entire time that you have it. Well, every other mage you get along the way that you have with him, they're like, I already have people with 200. So any spells that are useful for him at this point take like 30. So it's like, all right, well, I'm in a fight with, Cognazzo, the water turtle guy. It's like, all right, I can use Thundaga 3 times. I don't want to waste ethers this early in the game. So
is the damage difference from like Thunder 1 to Thunder 2?
It is significant.
It's significant enough that it justifies the increase in
it does.
SP. Okay.
Granted, they're like not like towards the end he doesn't really hit as hard as he does like towards the middle of his involvement with the party. But it's when you're given other people who just do his job better in every sense of the word, aside from he just has the higher level magic, that's his whole thing. So it's like if I had, the other 2 mage kids with me and they had those same spells, like they would just be blowing him out of the water, no problem.
Gotcha.
But I wouldn't even call those complaints just like minor gripes. Like that aside, I'm still enjoying the game.
Right.
How far would you say you are?
Like 10 hours in. So I usually play it for like an hour or 2 in the morning after eating breakfast.
Okay.
So.
In terms of like story.
Well, if I'm at the 3rd Elemental Fiend, I'm at least halfway.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well,
nice.
We'll get to hear more updates about that next time.
Well, you'll probably see, because I am going to play it at your place tonight after this, and you're probably going to hear me say, who's the fucking idiot who designed this shit multiple times. Because that's my go-to whenever I have something that makes me really upset in a game that I don't think is designed well.
As anyone with a deep love for a game often says, if you love a game, you can criticize it.
I thought you were looking at me specifically, and my first thought was, are you saying you don't like it when I say fuck you, Danny, during Smash?
No. That means I did a good job at something. That means I did something really disrespectful.
Or I just played a terrible game.
True. I did. We did play some Smash as well.
With Eric.
With Eric, our good buddy.
With the... Yes.
This was just yesterday.
Well, at the time of recording yesterday.
Yeah. Why? I can't. Yeah.
Yes.
Clear.
Which, when this video when this comes out, will have been like a week and a half ago, so a little over a week and a half.
It was a lot of fun.
It was. Our Smash ventures are usually fun.
Yes.
Don't make it sound too bad, Danny.
Eric loves to play pretty much exclusively Ganondorf.
Yeah.
He'll switch, depending on my pick, over to Sephiroth.
Mm-hmm.
You spent most of the night playing
Captain Falcon
and Little Mac.
Yeah, because my Little Mac, I think, has gotten progressively worse.
I do not think so. And then I did my usual, just selecting a different person every single fight.
Mm-hmm.
Played most of the cast, and it was good fun.
Yeah. He played Bowser Jr. once.
I did.
I think you played as Wendy?
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Why would you pick Wendy?
Because that's exactly why. Gross.
Fair.
And still beat us.
Well, that was
it is Danny.
That was a match that Eric had the wrong costume selected, so he threw himself off.
God.
Yeah, he suicided all 3 stocks.
I claimed.
Because he picked the wrong costume?
No, because
Danny
because Danny picked the default skin while he was in the bathroom.
He walked out and said, "Oh, gross," and I thought he was talking about Wendy, but he was talking about his own character, and he just jumped off.
Good God.
And so it was just me versus Wendy. And I'm like,
was
well,
it
this...
Greninja?
I think so. No,
because that was
I was someone.
Isabel Greninja.
Yeah, I was someone. And I'm just like, all right, well, this is going to go terribly, and it's going to be embarrassing as hell.
But it was a good time.
It was.
There was some fun plays. Lots of...
I won once.
Yeah, it was legit. Lots of unspoken alliances forged against one of us in particular.
There was a lot of funny moments.
Lots of, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit yous.
That was just me. That was just me.
But other than that, I think we're caught up for the week.
Pretty much. You know, lives have been pretty standard comparatively, so nothing too extraordinary there. Oh.
I had a lady tell me I didn't need to wear a mask at the gas station the other day. It was entertaining.
So, on that subject, again, as of recording over a week and a half ago, the building where I work, I can say this. I work at a Air Force base as a civilian contractor, and the commander of the squadron I work at, who is like the boss of the building, based on the CDC information that has come out very recently, my commander put out the email saying, if you are fully vaccinated, as in you've had both shots, and you've waited the grace period after your second shot and are completely vaccinated, you do not need to wear a mask inside the building at all.
Must be nice.
It is very nice. Mind you, I was sitting on my desk 90% of the day anyway, and so I didn't have to wear a mask then at that point anyway.
Still nice.
And so now it's like, okay, cool. I can finally walk around without having to wear a mask again. So, it is a good feeling.
It must feel nice.
It's a hint of going back to normalcy.
We'll see how long that lasts until another spike happens, but...
We'll see.
Which will absolutely happen.
But let's not get too far into that, because
the
world's shitty enough as it is. We don't need to bring it into this.
Yeah. So,
what else we got planned for today?
Well, the next topic, if you guys want to talk about it, I can do mine or we can do yours, Kevin. I thought mine was going to go first, but...
Yep, we can start with yours.
Or did you think of a topic, Danny?
The Danny topic.
Danny's in space.
We will talk about that one day.
Yes.
But I'm guessing not this day, in the words of Aragorn.
Probably not this day.
So the topic, plain and simply, shows, whether they be live action, animated, anime, you name it, that were influential to us individually while growing up. whether in a good light or a bad light. Obviously, in a good sense, meaning that you loved the show. In a bad light, something that made you not like the show.
Something you could just absolutely not stand. You detested it with all of your being.
Oh,
Correct.
I've got the perfect one for this.
Let's start
Start with you again, Danny.
Am I going first again?
Do you want to
Okay.
start with the negativo or the positivo?
I'm going to start with the positive.
Okay.
Because I tend not to dwell on the negative.
Yeah.
That is a damn lie, but let's go.
Also, I played another game this week. It was the Kingdom Hearts melody game.
You finished it.
Yeah, I did see
finished
you to
it.
play that. Or
That's
play a
very-
bit of that.
There's a very nice picture at the end of the credits
Does
because
it? Okay.
he saved it.
I screen capped it. I was like, this is lovely. And I took a picture.
I want to see it.
Yeah. Anyway. Show growing up, Dexter's Lab.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Loved that show.
I feel like between the three of us, there's going to be a lot of similarities.
There will be overlap. There will definitely be not overlap as well.
Of course.
Because I happen to know that Kevin loves the show that I hated. But
I think I know what that show is, but
I still adore this
Probably.
show. I still adore it.
Dexter's Lab, hilarious. The accents, his accent, the whole situation.
yep.
Everything is just as quotable now as it was back then. It's like SpongeBob got the memes. It was like mass appeal. And everyone can quote SpongeBob. I feel like Dexter's Lab has far better quotable content. It just wasn't... SpongeBob was Nickelodeon, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So it was on a more premiered kids network.
I think it had a wider appeal, and that's why SpongeBob took off.
Okay.
Then, I think, was it Steven Hillenburg was on SpongeBob for the first 3 seasons, which was longer than when Gendy was on for Dexter's?
I think
Maybe he was on for 3? I don't remember.
I want to say it was a different type of audience. Because Dexter's Lab was on Cartoon Network,
Yes.
which appealed to, like, because at the time SpongeBob released, there were a lot of, kids our age at the time, which we were, what, like 10?
9, 10, yeah.
And so that appealed to us, whereas Dexter's Lab came off as more adult-like. It seemed like it would be for a slightly older audience as opposed to SpongeBob,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
It does.
And
It was less wacky than SpongeBob.
correct. And I think Dexter's Lab also had slightly more adult themes.
Yes, my mom enjoyed Dexter's Lab, I think, more. She liked SpongeBob a lot. Mm-hmm. But I know she liked watching Dexter's Lab with me. I wouldn't say, maybe more, but either way, she liked watching because there was a lot of stuff that, I just didn't catch. She didn't know I was 8, 9, 10. And she'd, stuff would happen, she'd just bust out laughing and be like, what's so funny? And she'd be like, yeah, don't worry about it.
You'll learn it later.
So my favorite episode that I can recall off the top of my head
For Dexter's Lab.
for Dexter's Lab. He is not tall enough to ride on a roller coaster.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I can't tell you a lot of details that happen in it, but he makes himself taller and enjoys tall life for a while.
Yeah.
He finally, I think it ends up being a really crappy life being tall. I think there's more issues than good things. But
I mean, I can attest to that,
he's
but go on.
finally okay, after all this crap, I can at least ride this ride and enjoy myself. And you see him, and he's having the time of his life going up. He finally got past the gatekeeper guy who's like, sorry, you need to be this tall, Jim. Is on the ride going up, and then as soon as it starts going down, he's got his hands in the air, he's enjoying life, and he hits the tunnel, and he's so tall that he actually clips the tunnel, and it just ends right there.
Yep.
There's no aftermath, there's nothing. It's just the end. And it was so jarring as a child.
Yeah.
Because he was yelling, he was mid-sentence yelling, this is the greatest day of my life, and then he hits it, and it just cuts to black.
I love that joke was so great. I really love Yanni the Janitor.
Yanni the Yonder is great.
Yeah.
Him trying to escape out of, was it detention that he was in? Or he just got locked down because he always stays so late.
Yeah, he stayed late. He would always make Yanni stay
Yanni
and clean
had to
up.
clean up after him and could never go home to his wife. And so she's really mad at him. So he's like, I'm going to get revenge on Dexter.
Dexter.
I'm Yanni, the Yanni toad.
Didn't he like make like a minefield of like sporks and ketchup packets in the cafeteria?
It just turned into Die Hard, but for Dexter's lab. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Then he gets like Dexter gets to like the end of the cafeteria after just being like pelted with all this condiments and sporks and shit. And then he like turns to Yanni and goes, "Oh, Yanni, clean up this mess." And
He's like,
it just like cuts to, it like, does it cut to Yanni's face or just it's either panning across the cafeteria or his face? And it's just like this, he's sick, and he's like, Yanni just like loses his shit.
Yeah, he's like, he's finally got Dexter. Wants him. Any last words, Dexter? And he's like, yeah, clean up this mess. And so they just lose it. They start fighting, and then Yanni's wife busts the door and is like, I wait for you every single night, and I finally come out and see you playing with this child, or whatever. Super funny.
Oh, yeah.
I love this show.
Can I make the point of, what is it, the multiverse Dexter movie?
Oh, Ego Trip?
That was an amazing movie.
I actually have not gotten to watch it.
Okay, tonight we need to look for that, because you need to watch that on the side while you're playing Mass Effect, because Ego Trip is fucking bomb.
It looked pretty amazing, actually.
Nope, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
It's a great movie, that's what I will say.
I'm excited. I'll definitely have to check it out.
I do want to interject, since we're on the topic of Dexter's.
Uh-huh.
The parrot, the robot parrot episode.
Yeah.
To me is like one of the funniest episodes of any cartoon.
Okay.
To me.
I do like the talking dog episode as well. He's like,
food for me?
He's just like, what is so important, dog? He has a dog in his lab. Do you recall this one?
I believe so.
And he invents a device so the dog can talk, and the dog will not shut up.
Yep.
And he's just like, what's over here? What is it? He's like, it's a thing. It's a thing. He's like, okay, yeah, but what's wrong with it? It's a thing. And so like he just goes talking, and finally his dog gets found by the person, and it's just like him. And the surfer bro and the dog are both, you want to go in the car? Yeah, let's go in the car. Let's go. I found my dog. I found my man. That show is so funny, and I believe it still holds up really well.
Absolutely.
More as we talk about it, more episodes just keep coming to mind.
Yeah.
The Action Hank versus the pony cereal, the breakfast cereals get switched.
Yep.
And so they both get decoder rings. So funny. Seeing like, so Dexter dresses up. Basically, he starts doing pony things, thinking that it's Action Hank things, and meanwhile, Dee Dee is doing Action Hank things, wondering like, why does this pony want me to pick on a nerd? Like, that doesn't seem right. So they go to join their clubs or whatever, and you see Dexter, and he's in like a little pink tutu, and he's kind of standing there in the middle of the room, and all these like grown men are laughing at him, and they're like, oh, you probably have a sister, don't you? And you switch the decoder rings. And he's like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happened. And they all start laughing, and then Action Hank leans close and goes, it's not funny, kid. Your sister's in grave danger. And then they go to Dee Dee, and she's like, I feel like she's being dropped in a boiling water or something.
Or a vat of acid or something.
Vat of acid. And she's like, the pony is just not having it. It's like, yeah, you think you're so tough, Action Hank, girly girl, like whatever. And then just Action Hank busts in, and I think they beat the crap out of these ponies.
Oh yeah, no, because in the folder I have from when we lived at Eric's years and years and years ago, one of the gifts I have is just Action Hank holding the pony and just punching it in the gut on loop.
That I recall, they just beat the crap out of these ponies and then save Dee Dee, and then that's the end of the episode. They just call it a day.
And correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there also an Action Hank episode, another one, where for some reason, the Dexter swag walk after he gets his beard. Where he's just like, dun, 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 dun. And then he teams up with Action Hank, and they like tie their beards together, and it looks like and it just looks like this weird like cat dog beard monster thing. And they go through this whole action scene where like he's just like twirling Dexter around and just flicking him across the place.
It's good.
So good.
There's a shout out to the song that is based on Stephen Hawking's Professor Hawk.
That's Professor Hawk.
That song is hilarious too, and I couldn't tell you what. There's a specific part that would always make me and my brothers crack up. Because he talks.
Shibida-doobida-boop?
No. It's a line Professor Hawk says. And he's basically like, he's listing all the cool things that scientists get to do. And at one point, he's just talking very quickly because it doesn't fit into the song. But he's talking about like live experimentation on animals and plants and things. Like a horrible sentence right in the middle of it. And it's all this happy like...
For the shit you could get away with in the 90s, man.
Yeah, it was great.
So, not to cut this too short.
Oh, it's fine. I know I've extended my Dexter love.
It's worth it.
Absolutely.
Is there a polar opposite to the positivity of Dexter's for you?
A show that brings me as much misery as Dexter brought me joy.
Mm-hmm. Is it that one that you said Kevin loves?
Yes. I happen to know that Kevin loves this show.
Which is?
Ed, Edd, and Eddy.
Which I also love that show.
I know. Everyone I talk to loves Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Mm-hmm. I do not like this show at all.
You don't like Johnny the Woodboy?
There's no character that I like.
You don't like Ralph, son of a shepherd?
You don't like Rolf?
I don't even like Rolf.
You don't like Kevin?
Nobody likes Kevin.
He's the bully,
I'm
right?
Kevin, I don't like Kevin. Fuck that guy.
Kevin's a bully. But they're all miserable. And they're all trying to take advantage of each other. And none of them are having it.
What about Single D Ed? Yellow Skin Ed? Jaundiced Ed?
Butter toast Ed.
Butter toast and gravy Ed?
The idiot.
Swiggity swag, what's in the bag Ed?
Yeah.
There's... Okay.
Are we about to get a tier list of characters?
No. Because they're all F tier. I will give that Ed a single point. I hate him. I'll give him a single point because there was an episode that made me unexpectedly laugh. And he was so pissed off. That Ed was so angry the entire episode. And they're trying to figure out...
Oh! I know what episode this is!
Why is he so mad? And they're trying to figure it out. And turned out he had like a rock in his shoe at the very end of it.
It was a little pebble.
A little pebble. And it was making him furious. And that was so dumb, it got a laugh out of me. And so, I guess for that, he'll be F+ tier.
D-.
All right, I'll give it a D-.
D+?
No.
Okay.
So I gotta ask that Devil May Cry 5 fight with the Ed, Edd, and Eddy sound effects.
Yeah.
Did you like that at least?
Because
that
I appreciate the sheer work that went into that editing and finding all the as many different voice clips as possible.
Yeah.
And every step having a different one. And
bro, just thinking about that's making me fucking crack up so bad.
It's a funny video.
So one of my favorite sound effects from Ed, Edd, and Eddy is like when you hear like the random fighting off screen, you hear like the
This show, everyone is gross.
Absolutely.
There's no characters that are even slightly nice. They're all miserable.
Double D. He's probably the nicest person.
You're going to have to be more specific.
Sockad.
Red shirt.
The one who labels things.
Yes.
Okay.
He's probably the nicest person.
Probably.
And also probably the most normal person. Except for the Boomerang episode.
Do you guys remember? I got to offset this again. Do you remember the episode of Dexter's Lab? Where he gets a label and he labels everything as his? And so Dee Dee gets a labeler and starts... So
I vaguely remember this one.
They're competing, Kevin. They're like, this is mine. You can't touch this. This is mine. And so I can't remember who did it, but someone went and labeled everything in the fridge except one item. I want to say it was.
I think it was Dee Dee.
Labeled everything except one item. So Dexter was like, "Well, you didn't label this, so I guess it's mine." And it's apple juice, not apple juice. Applesauce. It's a huge jar of applesauce. So he just eats this whole thing. And it was part of Dee Dee's plan. She planned it. Because he has to go use the bathroom very quickly. And
she labeled the bathroom.
And the bathroom is labeled Dee Dee. So he's just like... And so, like, it cuts away, and just the rest of the episode happens. And then the parents finally get home. They've been gone the whole time.
Yep.
And they're pissed off at him for having done whatever, and they send them to their rooms or whatever. And they're, like, walking, and you hear, like, squishing. And the dad's like, what is this squish? Why is this floor wet? And that's the end of the episode. And you're like, Young me was like, oh, he just straight peed on the carpet.
Yep.
Anyway,
So very, very quick tangent.
Yes.
To actually stand on Dexter's lap. It's not really a tangent.
Okay.
The episode with Sasquatch. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
That's his whole dialogue.
Like, I legit want that as my text message alert on my phone.
Didi calls him sassy, right?
Yeah.
Sassy.
And then I believe like she gives him like a hairdo and everything, like giving like ponytails and whatnot, and just at every point he just goes, "Oh,
So sassy, I'm gonna miss you.
I love that show.
So
Anyway, then the Canker Sisters.
look,
I've described this show several times as such. It's so lazy, they can't even color in the lines.
That was intentional.
that is intentional. That's part of the charm.
I'm sure it's intentional when grade schoolers can't color in the lines either.
You're right.
You know what looks better than that? Coloring in the lines.
I don't know, Danny.
Just saying. I cannot like a show that does not put any effort into itself.
Okay.
The effort is there.
The effort was for it to appear that way. That was the effort. As opposed to every other show that looks like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Dexter's Lab, Cat Dog, Angry Beavers, so on and so forth. Ed and Eddie was the one that was like, hey, what if we made it so that it didn't look like that?
What if we made it look bad on purpose?
Again, it's part of the charm of it. Because one of my favorite things from that show, outside of the sound effect,
I just hear it.
I love the facial like emotions that are shown in that show. One of my favorite ones is like the panic side eye. Ian, could we get some panic side eyes on the screen, please?
You're gonna have to send those to him because I don't even remember
It's
with that.
it's that like when either Eddie or someone would be like doing fine and they just go, and it's that like pure white with like white iris, black line eyes that are just super panicked. And I'm sure Ian knows exactly what I'm talking about, so I don't have to send him anything.
He's probably listening and just like, no.
I do have one other show of mention because I started out enjoying it immensely, and now I cannot stand it.
I really hope you're not about to say Deep Space Nine.
No.
Thank you.
We're talking about childhood shows, John.
That was my childhood.
Fair.
Fairly Odd Parents.
On the good
Also
or bad?
fair.
I loved it growing up. It was very entertaining.
Yes.
There's a lot of really good humor. Now, I cannot listen to it. Audibly, it is the most obnoxious show. Literally, think about any character from that show. Their voice is so obnoxious. If you were blind and you could only listen to this show, you would go insane listening to every single character being turned up to 12.
I would say the only exception for me, and it's because I always found his voice to be funny, Jorgen von
I was
Strangle.
about to say, was it Jorgen?
He's like the only
I
one.
was going to say Von Karma, but that's still...
Jorgen
That's a very different character.
He's got a great voice, too.
He does.
Stuff of Angels, honestly.
Yes. Maybe like the realistic angels, yes.
Okay.
But
Yes, but he is...
which here are we talking about? Von Strangle?
Von Strangle.
Fairly Odd Parents.
Fairly Odd
We're
Parents.
back to Fairly Odd Parents, okay.
He is just a doofy Schwarzenegger voice. Like someone
Essentially.
just make Schwarzenegger, but make it a little more annoying. And he's toned down compared to the 6-year-old kid who's screaming and the fairy godparent who is just saying taco, because that's funny. That's just straight humor right there.
So I want you to remember something in regards to Jorgen von Strangle.
Yes. His muscles are still laughing.
Yes. So he has, obviously, as you have mentioned, a doofier Schwarzenegger accent.
Yes. I guess Hans and Franz.
Did you piece together that he is also essentially the same character but cartoonized as the like the general bad guy in the when the action figures get the microchips that make them come to life.
Oh, small soldiers?
Yeah. He's the general. Just cartoonized.
They are very similar, yeah.
And with magic powers.
Yes. It's the stereotype.
Okay.
It's also the general in the Avatar live action movie.
But was this...
Not Last Airbender.
But wasn't... Small Soldiers came out after the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Correct.
So...
It's based off that stereotype of Schwarzenegger, yes.
Yeah, okay. Vicky, terrible.
Icky.
Icky. The only person whose voice is okay, Chip Skylark.
I was about to say, because he's the only one.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice. I can't even say otherwise.
The movie...
Shiny teeth. Okay. I think there's like eight movies.
The original movie.
I haven't.
Which original?
The first one.
What was it?
It was
Jimmy
the one where
Power Hour.
No.
Shut up.
where Vicky becomes like the ultimate villain.
Does she get godparents of her own?
I think she steals
A wand.
Cosmo and Wanda or something.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And so I loved that movie because of the implications. Where it's like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved that movie for the implications of like, you've literally got, because I think eventually what happened was like, Timmy managed to get one of them back. Mm-hmm. Vicky had the other. And so you have this like potentially two broken characters.
It's the Harry Potter finale.
Kinda. Where they just fight it out. And then I can't remember the exact stipulation of what happens at the end. But it's something to the effect of like it was a wish to make it so that way like Vicky never knew. But there was also the possible risk that if Timmy did this... Oh wait, no. He made a wish to make it so that way, because he was the original owners of Cosmo and Wanda, that he aged himself to the past of where, or to the point of
he'd be too old for
the fairy godparents, which meant that once that happened, everything unraveled.
Was this the Channel Surfers movie, or was that a different one?
I think it was Channel Surfers.
Okay, because I've seen some of that movie, and that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
What you're saying. So I must have caught the later half.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the Timmy Jimmy Neutron Hour Power.
There's at least two of those.
No, there are three. So fun story about those, all right? So back when I worked at Charleston, Saturdays we were very, very slow, as I'm sure you remember, Danny.
Yeah.
So we would just watch movies on Watch Cartoon Online. And when I was working with Luis, I was like, "Yo, man, just put whatever on. You know, we already watched 3 Batman movies today. Just throw whatever." He goes, "I'm gonna throw on Jimmy Timmy Powers." All right, cool. That's gross, but do it.
Yep.
So that one finishes. He's like, "Oh shit, there's number 2." I'm like, "They made a second one," and he's like, "They made 3." I'm just like, "Why?"
But have you watched them though?
No.
Or maybe
3D Timmy Turner is disgusting.
I watched the first one, and that was enough.
You know,
I did really enjoy the 2D Jimmy.
Yeah, because he works in both 2D and 3D.
He does. But
Timmy's just awful.
Speaking of Jimmy Neutron and movies, there was one that had Tim Allen as a...
Are you talking about Win, Lose, Kaboom?
Win, Lose, Kaboom. There was one summer I went to visit my cousins, and they had that on repeat. So I watched it. I watched it many times, John. Mm-hmm. It's actually not bad, I'm going to say.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I never saw
Tim Allen does Tim Allen things.
Which iteration of Tim Allen?
I think just Tim Allen.
Gross alien.
Because there's
butt-faced Tim Allen.
There's Santa Claus Tim Allen.
It's not Santa Claus. Probably, I don't know. I know him best from Galaxy Quest.
There's also Home Improvement.
Yeah.
It's not Home Improvement, Tim Allen.
I don't think he makes noises.
So it's the goofy Galaxy Quest version of Tim Allen.
Yes.
Okay.
But he is an alien, and he's like, it's basically Survivor, the show, but space Survivor. And so the two teams of Jimmy's friends are pitted against each other, and they have to vote each other off as they go. I don't remember much more than that, despite the number of times I watched it, but wasn't bad. It was a lot more enjoyable than Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Was it more than 8?
It definitely played more than 8 times on my vacation. I will not say that I sat down and watched it.
You poor man.
It was on loop. It was on VCR, VHS, and it was rewound and put back in.
Which
Speaking
were
of
played on a
VHS.
VCR.
Yes.
Speaking of VHS, I found my copy of Fern Gully.
Oh. For the record, ladies and gentlemen, Danny gave Kevin the 1,000-yard stare.
It was beautiful. Didn't we watch that when we were living together
We've definitely
years and
seen
years and
it.
years ago?
So
That's right, because you wanted me to paint Bubbles fighting Hexus.
So Danny,
I still have that too.
Danny, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You may think that all the VCRs in this world are now demolished. I have a TV with a VCR player built in.
I also have 3 VCR players at my parents' house.
Well, we'll just all have to watch Fern Gully: The Last Rainforest, the most strong-handed environmental movie for children ever made.
For our children's children. You know what this means?
A lot of popcorn.
Absolutely, which I have. Also, you can finally watch Thumbelina.
That is true. Well, in its entirety.
In its entirety, yes.
I've seen clips. I will leave it at that. But
So those are my 2.5 picks.
so as a quick related note to Fern Gully, would you say that like the one redeeming factor for you was Tim Curry?
Oh yeah, there is a lot of good in that movie.
The songs are actually like
Really good,
legit.
yeah.
Like I still listen to a few of them on Spotify when I'm delivering sometimes.
That's fair.
The overall message is just very strong-handed. That's the only real complaint. Oh man, I think he gets on a literal soapbox at one point, and he's just like,
You talk about
"Some humans are terrible, and they'll cut down your trees, but not all of us. We need to band together and stop." And I can't even describe.
Fair enough.
They went full on with this.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I watched that movie so many times as a kid.
I think I've only seen like parts of it because isn't there like a weird blue-eyed bat?
Yeah, voiced by Robin Williams.
Yeah.
His name's Batty.
Again, I've only seen parts of
He
it.
does the baddie rap.
I think it was one of those movies that like was played at like Fellowship Daycare where I met Mark.
That would make sense.
And
It's a very daycare
How do you feel
movie.
about the environment?
I mean,
Growing up on that movie, how do you...
I didn't grow up on it because it played there, but I think I slept through most of it whenever it came on.
That's fair.
So I took daycare as a great
I still
opportunity to sleep.
I still sleep on that movie, though.
Anyway,
When have you watched it recently, and why haven't I been there?
There's a Fern Gully 2 as well.
I know, I've seen that one multiple times. I was a big fan of that movie as a kid.
We watched a little bit of it once. We didn't get all the way through.
Oh, I know, because it's awful.
I think we watched like Vines take down a boat or something. Anyway,
There's a baby kangaroo named Nugget. I remember that.
why does that sound familiar? Oh no! Oh no!
Welcome to the club, John.
Oh no!
if I can bring up one more movie that impacted me as a kid,
Jeez, Danny, there's 2 other people at the table.
I know I'm just gonna say it,
we got
and then we
plenty of
don't even have to expand.
Hmm.
The Rescuers Down Under. As a kid, all of the
Amazing.
audio is in here. Not so much the visual, but I can hear any given part, and it's instant nostalgia trip.
Still have not seen that one all the way through.
Yeah, it's fun.
Is it?
It is.
I'll take your word.
It is a very good one. Anyway,
So, continuing.
Kevin.
Oh man, so influential. I wouldn't say anything was really influential until Adventure Time for me. But that was, we were, 18, 19 when that came out?
You didn't really watch cartoons that much?
Oh no, I watched a shit ton of cartoons. That, they weren't really influential. I can tell you my favorites. I loved Rugrats as a kid. I watched a ton of Rugrats.
I also watched a lot of that shit.
Dexter's Lab, big one. Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls is fucking awesome. I love that. I like that show more every time I watch it. I loved Ed, Edd and Eddy. That was that one always reminds me of summer. That's why I love it. Because I remember being alone at home, waiting for my best friend to wake up and come over, watching that in the morning, and just chilling out, playing Wind Waker. That was the year Wind Waker came out.
Okay.
Kids Next Door. I enjoyed Kids Next Door a lot.
I never saw too much of it, just a few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
It was a great show, just in general.
It seemed pretty formulaic.
Very, but it was, as John says, very fun, formulaic.
Yeah, yeah.
Later on, there's some, like, deep episodes. Because, as a spoiler, if you don't mind, they are Section 6, correct?
I don't recall exactly.
They have different sections, and Kids Next Door is only following the story of one group. Yeah. There's other groups that are all kids, and it's this whole concept of kind of like similar to like Timmy Turner with the Fairly Godparents. Once you get too old, you get expelled.
You get decommissioned.
You get decommissioned.
Okay.
And number 5, her sister has some history with that. Number 2's dad has some history with that. And so it's like this whole, like, not genealogy based, but there's like recurring characters. And there's this whole concept, I think, where it happens later on, where number 1, there's like an accident or something where he actually has like, did you watch Men in Black 3?
Yeah, with Tim Curry.
Was he in that one?
He was the villain.
In 3?
In 3.
You said Tim Curry?
Tim Curry's the villain.
He is not.
Men in Black 3?
He's not.
Are you thinking of 2?
You might be thinking...
In 2, it's a Victoria's Secret model. In 3,
that's right.
It's Tim Curry is the bad guy.
Ian, pause.
No need to pause, Ian. I know this. Because it's the time travel movie.
Wow. Knocking the table.
Yeah. Just like I'm knocking these hard facts. I also got to say big shout out to Batman Beyond. I didn't get much chance to watch it when I was young, but every chance it was on, I was just like glued to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You said that he played the villain?
He was the main villain.
He was not.
He was.
He was not.
It's Tim Curry.
It's not.
Are you looking at the right movie?
I'm looking at Men in Black 3.
Who's the villain, John? Where's the
Boris the Animal is played by Jermaine Clement.
That's that's Tamatoa from Moana, if I'm correct.
That's the IMDb.
Because I thought Tim Curry already had a stroke by the time
he did. He was still recovering by then. Because I was like, that is not Tim Curry.
How did I misremember this?
Anyway,
maybe they look similar. I don't know it.
So
I mean, he's just an alien. He doesn't look like anything.
Oh, okay.
But,
It looks like an alien.
Similar to spoilers for Men in Black 3 as well.
So I was wrong, for the record.
Fair enough. I'm not going to hold you up on that.
Yeah,
so
I will.
If we paused.
Mike? Why did I say Mike? K.
Well, there's a K in Mike.
So Mike, right? He'd been decommissioned. He had to get his stuff back. Did that happen in 2? That happened in 2.
Yeah,
You're talking about the crappy one. Well, that has even less Tim Curry in it.
Correct. No. Anyway, he got decommissioned.
Uh-huh.
He got his stuff back.
Yes.
Similar thing happens in Kids Next Door with number 1, where he gets decommissioned and he has to get brought back.
With Jean-Luc Picard, you're saying?
Pretty much.
I mean,
That's
sure.
definitely the vibe they're going for.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except number 2 is definitely not based on Riker.
I don't even know any of the other ones.
Number 2's
He's
the
fat
ball boy.
Yeah, he's the fat one.
Oh, gross. The mega diaper baby?
Speaking of, we're going to get to that later tonight.
Yeah.
But there was, like, with Kids Next Door, there was some, like I was saying earlier, some very deep moments, like deep cuts in that show.
Okay.
Very solid. Heavily recommended if you can.
I feel like the hardest part of writing that show would be the inventions. Having what's it called when every letter is a different...
It's an acronym.
Acronym.
Mm-hmm.
Having those just the longest acronyms and trying to, like, piece it together. I feel like that would be the hardest part.
Where it'd be like daisy chain, and it goes through each letter, and it's just like...
It's still relevant to what the thing is.
Yeah, it's like, it's a chain of daisies where each daisy is a deployable grenade or some nonsense.
But it like every letter.
Yeah.
Just it does. Yeah. I always was just like it's a stretch. It's never like great, but it tells you exactly what it does.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take time to explain. You don't lose time.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps you right there, and then it just goes. Anyway.
And there was a villain, I think his name was Father.
Mm-hmm. He was cool. He was just a silhouette.
I do remember him, actually.
Yeah.
He had, like, fire. That was his thing.
That was
he had angry dad vibes.
Mm-hmm. And that was literally like, I believe that was near the end of Kids Next Door's run.
Okay.
I think.
Isn't he, like, number one's uncle, you find out, or something? Because his dad was, number one's dad was, like, number 0.
Yep. Where, like, he was, like, the founder of, like, Kids Next Door is, like, the group.
Okay.
And it's just like that reveal.
It's a really fun show.
And that reveal was just like, as, like, a 12-year-old, was just like, huh. But, sorry, please continue.
Oh, no, you're all good.
So, the first show cartoon that did impact you then, you were saying?
Definitely, like, the one, like, I think back, it's like Adventure Time.
Adventure Time.
That's not really childhood, so...
I mean,
SpongeBob,
it's a childhood show, so we can get deeper into it if you want. What did you enjoy about it?
Let's not go into that right now, because there's some heavy shit associated with that show. But, SpongeBob, definitely. That was huge on SpongeBob when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's bad. I kind of watched, like, a lot of everything when I was younger. As far as stuff I didn't like... I'm pretty sure I hated Fairly Odd Parents at some point because I thought Timmy Turner was just the worst.
He definitely sounds the worst.
I think, yeah.
If we get like a super cut of like 12 Timmy Turner voice lines at the same time, it would be basically what Nightmares sound like.
just Tara Strong just screaming.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Another one I really loved, Rocko's Modern Life.
Yeah.
My favorite cartoon episode ever from anything is from that, and that's the Wacky Deli episode.
Okay.
Where Rocco, Filbert, and I can't remember their names. It's like Norbert and Filbert, I think are their names.
Okay.
No, it's not Norbert. Heifer and Filbert. He's the big yellow cow. They get hired by the big head's son, who is a famous animator, and he hates his job, and he wants to get fired, but he can't. Because he keeps his producers are too stupid to the point where he literally gave them like a jar of mayonnaise on screen for 10 minutes, and they put it out, and it was just successful because it had his name attached to it. So he just wants to get out of the animation business, so he hires those three to make a cartoon, and it just be terrible. And it's just this whole process of them making this cartoon and just being at each other's throats. And
they have creative differences.
Yes.
Okay.
It shows the end product of what they made, and as a kid, I would always, like, it still makes me laugh really hard now. But like as a kid, I would just be dying laughing every time this thing was on.
Okay.
But I think in the end that's still, it was still like super successful. But it was great because after I went through college and I went through, my senior project, which was like a bunch of us getting together making a game, and there was stupid, huge creative differences and lots of people at each other's throats. After going through that, I just appreciate that episode that much more because I'm just like, I've lived this.
So they've definitely based that off of personal experience from the sound of it.
It's very accurate.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's like I like that one a lot. Gargoyles is really good.
I recently watched probably a dozen episodes of that show, and it is really good.
Me and my dad would watch that one a lot when I was a kid. Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yep.
Really good.
Yes.
Extremely good.
Yes.
Extremely.
I'd agree. Legit freaked me out as a kid. I love that.
A lot of deep stuff in that one, too. Like, you had to dig deep into some of the plots to find it. But there was some deep stuff in there as well. I will always remember Return the Slab.
Yeah.
Ramses was probably the most memorable one for me, too.
Also, Fred.
Fred was great. Did you know the song?
Barber. The
Yeah,
Barber.
Freaky Fred.
Freaky Fred, yeah.
In the record that's playing when King Ramses is trying to get the slap back.
Ramses.
The man of Gods, the man of Gods. And one of the lyrics, someone just goes Santa Claus.
This is like one of his curses is just bad music, and so what's his name? Eustace. Eustace is like, "What's your offer?" He's trying to sell the slab back to Ramses.
Make me!
What's your offer? And then he's just like, "Return the slab."
Make me! Yeah.
That was a fun show. I didn't catch too much of it.
Oh, like if you ever want one to watch on the side when you're playing something on your computer, just have that on.
As a kid, I felt like there were a few times I'd catch it halfway through and be absolutely lost. And I'm just like, okay, well, there's an obvious threat, and it's freaking him out. I don't know who this guy is or why he was freaky. I don't know what's going on, basically. So,
lest we talk about the kidnapping goose god.
Oh my god. He's so good.
So there was an episode, Danny, where there's basically the equivalent of like a goosey Zeus.
Goosey Zeusy.
Who, it's literally a bipedal goose who's got like a lightning bolt.
So Goose.
And he is just super jacked.
He's
just
ripped.
Comically jacked.
And he's up on a cloud. He looks down as he's passing over the house. And he sees Muriel. And it's just like, and he's like, and he descends on a cloud. He's like, my sweet goosey queen. And it's just like, what?
It's this whole episode of him just trying to win over Muriel. And Courage is like trying to prevent it.
Yeah.
And I think at the end he's like about to kidnap her. And for some reason, Courage like honks the horn of Eustace's truck. And the goose god just stops in his tracks. And he's like, the fuck was that?
What is that siren song?
And it's just like this really lame like honk honk coming from the truck. So like Courage realizes that he's into it, so he keeps like hitting it. And then like the goose god just keeps honking at the truck. And so he just takes Eustace's truck.
Yeah.
And that's the episode.
Yep.
Now, I know there's a lot of reoccurring, this happens or my name isn't, whatever, which it's not. Doesn't he always just hit the computer?
He does it a lot.
It's when he needs to get an answer, and he's just stumped, and he needs an answer. And he'll go to the computer, and the computer was the most advanced piece of technology in the world. And it was just like, it would respond with just like, why don't you just go try and drinking from the toilet or something? Just like a really sassy Eric answer.
Yeah, it was just...
It was never helpful?
Occasionally.
Yeah. It would, after making him jump through some hoops or something.
Okay.
Danny, there's an episode where it gains sentience. And it becomes mobile. It becomes its own thing. I don't remember how that episode ends.
I don't either.
But it's a trip, from what I remember.
I am wanting to go back and watch some episodes of that. Is there like better seasons?
The earlier ones, because it's like more creepy focus than the earlier ones. It's not bad. The later it gets
focus does the later ones do.
It just gets weird.
Yeah, they just get out there.
Okay.
But it's not bad. It's just they're just different.
But it's the creepy ones that are...
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the memorable ones, because the other ones are still good.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not as memorable, I guess.
They don't hit as hard because they're not creepy.
Okay.
There was one episode of like later seasons where there's like a dude in a giant mobile tower.
Yeah, that just shoots the cannonballs of sadness.
And whenever the cannonball of sadness hits someone, they just become depressed. Like, unbelievably
They
depressed.
just turn gray. And then they just... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then were there any... You had said that one of the ones that you really didn't like was Fairly Odd Parents.
I did not like Fairly Odd Parents.
Were there any others?
Cat Dog.
Oh my goodness.
Cat Dog was... It's like... So I didn't dislike Cat Dog. I hated most of the characters in Cat Dog. Like the greasers. I remember like being very angry at them when I was a kid. And being like, these are like the biggest pieces of shit. Mm-hmm. I hope they get what for. Yeah. And they usually did, because they were pieces of shit.
I did not like that show either.
That's fair. Well...
I didn't like the opening song, especially.
Cat Dog!
Tucker and I sing that every now and again.
Didgeridoo.
You know, I didn't like Wild Thornberrys, but I still watched it. It's one of those weird things.
When it's on.
My dad loved that show.
I wonder why.
That was one he would always be like, "Oh, we're watching this," and I'd be like, "Okay." I just remember him just going like, he was just like, Cabalito. And there's like an episode where he has like his hand over one of his eyes, and he like calls out to his wife, and he's like, I think I've gone blind in one eye, pumpkin. And the wife's just like, move your hand, and he just like moves his hand. He's like, that's why I love this woman, or something like that.
Yeah.
I liked Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond.
There was a lot of shit that freaked me out in that show as a kid. There's stuff I still refuse to watch to this day in that show as an adult. Where the dude sticks all the stuff into him and he turns that big monster.
Oh, like the animal episode?
I don't deal well with shit like that at all. It freaks me out bad. So I stay away from stuff like that.
I'm noticing a theme. A lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, I keep remembering the movies. Not necessarily, like, for some reason the movies are the first thing I remember, like Return of the Joker.
I was about to say, did you watch that? That one's good.
That one, have you seen that one, Danny?
Not to my knowledge.
That one is so good.
Yeah. Like, that's another one I'd say, like, load up if you can.
Because I won't spoil everything, because I don't want to, for your sake. Because it is a great twist. But, obviously in Batman Beyond, there's Old Man Bruce. And so...
McGinnis. Every single... McGinnis, get out of there.
McGinnis, put on the suit.
Can we just have the picture of Screaming Terry Batman from the game somewhere on screen right now? I do have that. I can send it to Ian.
It's a great picture.
Because it has Old Man Batman, or Old Man Bruce Wayne, and it begs the question of, if he's old, where are the Robins? Mm-hmm. And you actually get to see, modern day, in the scene of the show, a Robin. One of the Robins. I believe it was... It's not Tim Drake.
Wouldn't be Damien.
It wouldn't be Damien. I'm drawing a blank on which one it is. I'm sure people who watch this will be screaming at me, but...
Do you think Eric would be screaming at you? Not Eric. Or not screaming, but he'd be saying, it's this one.
Probably. But one of the Robins shows up, and you're just like, hey, that's cool.
Nice.
And just the whole general plot of the movie is solid.
I think the villains of Batman Beyond are very unique, very fun.
Yes, I agree.
What's the girl's name? Ink?
I believe so.
Do you remember Ink, John?
Yeah, maybe I ever saw a picture of her.
It's basically like liquid, like actual ink, and she could just slip through anything and take shapes and stuff.
Not off the top of my head.
She was a reoccurring villain in that show. She was pretty cool. The guy who's just straight radiation.
Yeah.
I suppose he would be the most main villain the show has.
He's a meme. Because Batman or Terry McGinnis, Batman rolls into one of a place where he's at, and Batman's just like, "You killed this person," and Radiation Man is just like, "That narrows it not at all."
He's like, "Why are you after me?" He's like, "You killed my parents," or something like that. He goes, "Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?"
Yeah.
and it's so sassy and so Eric.
Very much so.
Very funny quote though. Very funny movie or show.
I remember the villains.
Pretty pilot. Pretty. Yeah.
The Swing Pretty Girl.
Pretty show.
Yeah.
Pretty girl.
Pretty
Pretty good. Oh god, I'm so embarrassed.
You got a show, cute show.
You got a show, cute show.
The villains, I remember, like there were so many like outcomes they had. They were just so bad. Like it sucked to beat them. Like the guy who had the belt he could turn on to go through like walls.
Just gonna say this.
And like he wears it too long, and so he just starts phasing through matter, sort of thing. He starts like sinking into the earth, and like Batman's trying to save him, and he's like, he can't grab him. This dude just sinks to the center of the earth, and like.
Oh, and it's important to note that this guy was literally on the verge of outing Batman's identity. Not just Terry, but original Batman. He had put a spy device on him. And Terry's like, what do you want me to do? You want me to like take this guy out or something? And Batman's like, no, he didn't do it. Like, it's crap that this is the guy that figured it out, but it's going to happen eventually. Like, no big deal, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he starts having these side effects because he's able to sneak in and place. But he can't hold on, and he just gravity pulls him to the middle.
There's the guy who could control sound, and Batman turned up like the volume on what he could hear, like at the very end, and like he just hears everything in the city going on around him, just goes deaf.
Yep.
Oh man.
And then, as aforementioned, the guy that just stuck his arm full of like mutagens and turned into this like fucking
monster,
a like H.P. Lovecraft monster.
Yeah.
There's so much good. So much good. Very little bad.
Yeah.
The word shui, I would put on the bad side.
I strongly disagree, but okay.
They tried to do a lot of cool
hip lingo.
And it's not like they're trying to be prophetic or anything, but they're just like, well, that's just what they'll say in the future.
Well, no, because they were like, oh, what can we do that is like a hot new term in the future?
Found it.
I just don't like the word shui.
Yeah.
And they use it a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's...
Yep.
So, negative. Any other negative shows? Do you have an Ed and Eddie for yourself? Anything that was like an instant change the channel? All that was an instant change.
I would watch all that until they started doing the live performances at the end.
That was at the very end, so you got most of it.
Yeah. Oh man. I guess I was really easy to please as a kid. Like, there's things now that I will absolutely not watch. But
there were no shows that you would just like see and you would just go to see what was on the other kids channel? Like
none that I can recall.
Okay. Well, so you would put Fairly Odd Parents as your probable least favorite for now?
Probable at the moment, yeah.
Okay. If you do remember one, we'll come back to you.
Yeah.
But John, let's hear it.
Mine is actually a generalization.
Okay. Like as far as liking shows.
Yes. I'll get the negative out of the way because that's even easier. Very much like Kevin, I did not have any negative shows. Legitimately.
No shows that you would change?
None.
Cat Dog, you'd watch it?
If it was on, I'd watch it.
Begrudgingly.
Not begrudgingly. My rebelliousness as I've been growing up is having an opinion. When I was growing up, I was very, not unopinionated, I was very go with the flow. Like, super go with the flow. And just even more, like, positive kid when I was growing up. And so, stuff that I loved watching that was, like, influential for me, I had to dig deep into, like, the recesses of my mind to find what it was.
Okay.
The first thing that comes to mind, so, quick history on me. I
remember one as soon as you're done, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I did not like Billy and Mandy as a kid.
Fair enough.
Oh.
I like it now. I'm okay with I'm okay with it now. Because I've seen some pretty great stuff from it. But as a kid, I could not stand it.
I'm neutral on that show. I've seen good and I've seen bad. I'll tell you what sparked the memory of that, though. Cow and chicken. Instant, I would rather go outside and play sports.
I love cow and chicken.
the opening was more than enough to never want to watch that show ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
My gym partner was a monkey.
Oh,
that one's pretty gross.
That was. I think I was out of cartoon watching by the time that. You gotta draw some, Rudy.
That was also one. You're bringing it back.
That
one
you
more
liked, or
that I
you-
did not like.
You did not like
I did not like that
Rudy
one.
Tabuti?
I didn't.
You gotta draw something, Rudy.
The only redeemable thing about that show to me now is that meme, and the voice of Princess Bubblegum is one of the characters for a couple seasons. And
Okay.
I love the show now, but I did not like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends when I was young.
I did not know that. I thought you liked the show.
I think it's a great show either
It
way.
is. It's Craig
It's-
McCracken.
It
Yeah.
seemed like a fun one.
Yeah.
Not one that I gave a chance.
So, for me, it was... There was, like, I moved here with my parents,
Mhm.
and the only thing I had was, like, the original NES. And all I played was Madden.
Okay.
Like, I had the Mario, and I think I mentioned in a previous episode, it was, like, the Mario Duck Hunt, like, double pack cartridge.
Yes.
Nothing else but Madden. After that for a long period of time. Bless you.
Thank you.
And so I did not really watch much for a pretty good period of time. For maybe like a few years after that.
Interesting. Okay.
And then I discovered Toonami. The original Toonami.
Kids love it.
And one of the probably most influential shows of my childhood was Dragon Ball Z.
I did watch a lot of that.
Specifically. And then from there, it's like Outlaw Star showed up.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And that was before I understood the difference between a cartoon and an anime.
Mm-hmm.
And so just going from there, at that time, I didn't even know that Nickelodeon existed.
Wow.
And then, so basically anything that was on Toonami then was really influential for me.
So Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yes. Stuff like that. Pretty much anything that was on Cartoon Network at the time. Which would have been...
Zoids?
Mid to late
I
90s.
did enjoy Zoids as a kid too.
Okay.
I, like, during, like, the Toonami breaks, when they were like, oh, we're going to put out this really interesting, like, plot for Toonami itself with Tom.
Yep.
Where it's like, oh, Tom's dead.
His ship's under attack.
Yeah. That shit drove me crazy. And then, shortly after that, Kids WB.
Did you ever watch Waynehead?
No.
Lucky Man.
Specifically, Kids WB.
Batman.
What was Batman,
Batman was on there. Pokemon was also on.
Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay.
See, I never watched Yu-Gi-Oh. I watched the shit out of Pokemon, like the rest of the world.
I ended up like Kids WB was literally Saturday mornings for me from that point for the next like 5 to 6 years. Every Saturday morning. And you know, for the record, everyone, Danny was watching the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh on Netflix.
It's like 52 episodes.
Yeah. I ended up watching all the way through like season 3 or 4 through Kids WB.
Garoozies.
Oh, we're talking way past that, Danny.
Time Wizard?
Way past that.
What about the Baby Dragon?
Baby Dragon?
Baby Dragon! Red Eyes Black Dragon!
Red Eyes Black Dragon.
Kunai with Chain! Metal Claws! Or whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah.
You may be stupid.
I may be stupid.
But that was basically what it was for me. Like, growing up, most influential stuff was like...
So you were
It was-
anime.
For the most part, yeah. And it was like Toonami, Kids WB, then Nickelodeon. And that was when I discovered our shows. Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents, you know, all the, like, SpongeBob SquarePants. Bunch of other Nickelodeon shows at the time.
Okay. So there was nothing on the Toonami lineup that you didn't like? You enjoyed the whole lineup?
I believe so.
What about Zatch Bell?
I thought it was interesting. I didn't watch...
When you looking at me like that?
Like I said,
I'm surprised.
I thought it was interesting at the time.
Yeah,
I was a child.
It definitely is more questions than answers type show.
True. But, like, you have to understand, too, you know...
Is that one that was just really weirdly localized, like card captors?
Very much.
What about
Very much.
Big O? Do you remember Big O?
I love me some Big O, dude.
Again, I'm on the other side of the table.
I literally... I loved...
This is true.
I loved Big O because it was... One, it was mech fights. And that was, like, outside of maybe... God, I can't even think of what Gundam would have been on Toonami at the time, because there's so many offshoot Gundam shows.
It's like G Gundam, I think, was on at the time. G Gundam and Wing.
Yeah.
Gundam Wing, I remember hearing a lot.
And so, like, Big O was, like, big mechs. And there was this dude that looked like a butler, but there was also this, like, weird hints of, like, religious stuff going on in the background. Mm-hmm. There was one of the enemy mechs that was like a ghost mech.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And so there was some really interesting stuff going on in that show.
I mean, dude, it's Bruce. It's just Bruce Wayne with a mech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the maid.
Oh, Dorothy?
Yeah.
Couldn't get into it at all.
Fair enough. And so, yeah. It was like Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically really got me in the second season when Merrick showed up.
I have no idea who anyone in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is.
Fair enough.
What about Duke Devlin?
Oh, I know Duke Devlin.
That was the end of season 1 on Netflix.
He's the finale of season 1.
Where you get Joey Wheeler in a dog outfit.
Yep. Yep, with the Dungeon Dice disappointments.
Dungeon Dice monsters! But, yeah, that's pretty much what it was for me. Like, Codename Kids Next Door on Cartoon Network, Dexter's Lab, a lot of the same stuff you saw on there.
Was Kablam Nickelodeon?
Yes.
Okay.
So I didn't get into that. Okay. Like, Kablam, all that, like a lot of the live skits and stuff like that.
Secret World of Alex Mack.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Do you remember who is Alan Strange?
That's the alien one, right?
It's the alien one.
I was looking that up recently because I remember there was like an episode where it showed him as an alien. As a kid, it really freaked me out. The way he looked. I looked at it and I was like, is this really dumb looking?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
I think the commercials were probably the best part. Like, the hype up for the show. Because it felt like they were investing money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember Cousin Skeeter?
I try not to.
So, like,
a friend that would come up with skits in college about Cousin Skeeter trying to murder me and Mark.
Goodness. A lot of the, like, live action stuff on Nickelodeon, I never got into. That's why people were really excited about all that, and I'm just like, yeah. I shrugged my shoulders, by the way.
Again, I really wasn't into... I fell out of cartoons I fell early, but, like, then they started doing the live action stuff, and I did not move on to that. It just was like, oh, well, this is a reason for me not to watch TV then.
Yeah. So
Drake and Josh. Which,
I did like that one.
I understand there's some funny scenes in it. People make memes about it, but I was just like...
I know there's a lot of people that like Drake and Josh. I didn't watch that one.
It was jokes at the time.
Yeah.
And then, like, Drake and Josh happened, and then later, like, iCarly happened because Miranda Cosgrove kept doing acting.
I think Good Burger was, like, one of the original live actions.
Which I didn't get into.
It had some funny moments. I watched the movie.
Didn't watch it.
The movie has 2 funny jokes. They are very funny, though.
Fair enough. But, like, because of how I grew up, I cared a lot about school, as well as lots of football practice.
Okay.
And so that was, like, I think every night, except for Saturdays and Sundays, because I think Saturdays were game days. And so my parents tried to keep me, or try to, like, have that nice balance of, like, me doing stuff outside the house as well as inside. And so a lot of stuff I didn't get to see, but the stuff I did see, I've already mentioned.
So neither of you have any shows that you actively disliked.
So I did remember one, and I'm going to preface it with saying I love it now, but I did not like Samurai Jack when it came out.
Really?
I did not, because I did not get it.
Oh my gosh! Did you watch Samurai Jack?
Loved it.
The show was so good.
Yeah, it was until when I was in college, that's when I was like, it was brought to my attention again. And then, I watched it through it after watching Symbiotic Titan, which is fucking amazing.
It is.
So I watched Samurai Jack, and I was like, oh my god, it's amazing. Now it's like, it's one of those shows, every time I watch it now, it just gets better and better and better. Like, it's so good. So fucking good.
Yeah.
There's so much good in that show. Okay.
Oh, One Piece. I did not like One Piece. I still don't like One Piece.
Did you grow up with One Piece? What was it on?
It was on Toonami.
It was.
It was on Toonami?
It was on Toonami when they had different voice actors for season 1.
The 4 kids?
Oh, was that the one where the blonde guy had Barney's voice?
All I remember is that the Luffy then did not sound like the Luffy now.
Fair enough.
And so...
The Luffy then doesn't look like the Luffy now either.
You'd be correct. Because over 1,000 chapters of a manga will do that.
He's jacked. He looks so doofy now.
Yeah. But to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the artist or the storyboardist, so I can't do either about it. So, I was going to say something. I don't remember.
Do you remember Action League now?
Vaguely.
With the flesh? He's super strong and super naked.
Do you remember Meltman? Do you remember his power?
The power to melt?
To power. Wait.
Do you remember Thunder Girl?
Dude, she flies like thunder.
He's reaching.
I'm trying to meet you guys halfway.
It's on the edges.
And there's also a Stinky Diver.
Stinky Diver.
Found it. Yeah, no, I remember it now.
Stinky Diver's the one that did it for you, huh?
No, it's like I looked at my phone, and then the moment I did, I was like, "That's right, they were action figures."
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, like, wasn't the bad guy like the mayor?
I don't even remember.
It was just some like white guy.
Yeah.
That was the action figure. It's like a white guy in a suit.
Yeah.
And like one of the episodes, he was just like driving a real car down this like street, just like throwing papers out the window because he's polluting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I liked Captain Planet a lot.
Oh
as a
yeah,
kid, too.
I was waiting for Captain Planet to be brought up.
Fare thee whale.
Earth, fire,
Wind,
heart.
Go planet.
forgot water.
Yeah, I skipped one.
What is water?
Better than heart. Can we talk about how useless heart is?
I like the sound
Everyone's
effect
like-
it makes.
Everyone's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna directly affect our surroundings,
He had a chimp companion.
which
It
was
wasn't even a
way more
chimp.
useful than he was.
It wasn't no chimp.
It was a monkey.
Chimps aren't monkeys. They're apes.
I can't help you here, John.
Moving on. But no, because like I loved Toonami,
Toonami was really good.
and there was
That's where I got a lot of cell games.
oh yeah, because like a lot of people give shit on the original Dragon Ball Z for being
Dragon Ball Z.
the greatest lie ever was Frieza saying you've got 5 minutes as Namek was exploding. And that scene lasted like 4 episodes. If maybe more.
You got 5 episodes. Make them count.
Yeah.
He's just not good at estimating how long it takes to blow up a planet.
Which is really funny because like in the moment, you know, Frieza is just baffled that the legendary Super Saiyan exists, even though he isn't. That he's like, yeah, you got 5 minutes. And then flash forward to now in Super, where he's supposed to be this super conniving evil tyrant, and he's maybe gotten somewhat smarter.
But he's gold now.
He is Golden Frieza.
That's all you need. That's called next forming it.
It is. That's also what happens when apparently Frieza actually decides to train.
I did think that was really fun, like, tidbit about him.
Because, like, the whole thing...
he never trained.
He never trained. He only ever relied on his forms. And, like, for the most part, he was only in first form. And it's like, oh, you've gotten to my second form. I'm going to kick your ass. And then...
Oh, if you don't like forms, you're going to be mad about what I just did.
Yeah. And then, you know, flash forward to... You've got bulky Frieza on Namek versus the blonde Goku. And blonde Goku beats the shit out of him. And then gives Frieza energy and still kills him. Almost.
I pity you. Take my energy. Bleh.
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 And then... I will say... now, this is a hot take from me. And I think a lot of people would agree. I don't know if either of you have seen Super.
No.
Like 2 episodes. 3 maybe.
Okay. Literally, there's like 3 or 4 main arcs that happen in Super, from the beginning of it to the end of the Universe tournament.
Mm-hmm.
The animation is rough.
Yes, I have seen that.
Up until like the last 5 or 6 episodes of the Universe Survival Tournament. Then the animations are just like, where did this come from? And some of the fights are so good in those last several episodes.
That's where all the budget went.
Yeah, because, spoilers, at the end of the Universe Survival Tournament, it's Jiren, who's the gray, bald, red and black suit guy.
Very generic looking guy from Fighters. He has, like, an amazing theme in Fighters, though.
I think he has an amazing theme in general.
Does he?
Okay.
I haven't heard his one in the show.
I think I know who you're talking about.
And so it's Jiren versus the only 3 people left on the map. Frieza, Goku, and Android 17.
I'm glad that 17 gets more love.
Oh, you would love the Universe Survival Tournament then. Because he gets a lot of love.
Good.
Because I'm about to spoil it for you.
Oh, here we go.
Unless you don't want me to.
Go right ahead. I have no intention of watching.
So basically what happens is 17 gets like blasted off. Everyone thinks he's gone. Like out of the ring. That's still in the ring. But he didn't show up in the stand. Once you fall off the ring, you get teleported into the stand.
Oh, okay.
With the rest of the people that got beat. And so he's just floating there somewhere. Goku and Frieza are fighting Jiren, and all 3 of them at this point in the fight are damn near spent on like all of their energy. Jiren is like, it's a very loose form transformation. It's very not like Frieza. He just gets bigger. Like, okay. Jiren just kind of powers up and gets more swole.
So he's Luffy. Okay.
A little bit. Also to the same effect as he loses like the top of his leotard. And so he's just like super buff and very menacing looking. Frieza is so spent that he can't even maintain golden form. Goku, several episodes prior, had gone through his transformations, but not of Super Saiyan.
He does colors in Super.
Essentially, yes.
Mm-hmm. Which is even better than Super Saiyan.
There's this concept of Ultra Instinct, which I'm sure you've both probably heard of. Mm. The whole point of it is that because Goku had been able to become Super Saiyan God, he's able to tap into kind of like godly energy, if you will.
Okay.
And Ultra Instinct is supposed to be something that, like, the Gods of Destruction, like Beerus, is, like, that's the pinnacle. Like, that's the greatness.
So he taps into the ultimate plot.
Essentially. He taps into Ultra Instinct, and it's literally called Ultra Instinct Sign, where he's just kind of got, like, these, like, weird, like, particle effects going up across him, and his hair looks a little different, but it's still black. and he's got this like grayish silver irises instead of like the green teal color that come with Super Saiyan. He's going toe to toe with Jiren, blah blah blah. Some shit happens, and then Goku, being Goku, is able to unlock, literally just fighting through Ultra Instinct Sign, is able to unlock Mastered Ultra Instinct, where he gets kind of like slightly more ripped, and he's got this like whitish gray hair, and there's a scene that I love so much just because of the sound effect that they do. Because it is Ultra Instinct, he's like yelling as he's fighting Jiren, and it's just this massive like ultra deep reverb, like death wail scream while he's...
It goes... Wah.
It's the Spongebob. Like,
Goku, help us!
What? I'm just imagining him do like the super like rapid punch they do, but with every punch, you just do the...
Yeah. And so Jiren is the strongest being currently in the field. Like, he's able to just kind of stand there like this, and you'll watch people just get punched. He's meant to be like incredibly fast, incredibly powerful, yada yada. Goku in Ultra Instinct Sign was able to keep up with him. Mastered Ultra Instinct, he starts decimating Jiren, and Jiren's getting freaked the fuck out. He's just like, "What are you?" And the problem is with Ultra Instinct Mastered, because he's a mortal, Goku's body just gives out. It's too much of a strain.
Like Kaioken times 4.
No. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Funnily enough, same logic as to why Vegeta never goes Super Saiyan 3. But that's a story for another time. So Goku basically just like, his body just like almost implodes on itself because of the wear and tear. And Goku being Goku, Frieza tries to stall for as long as he can to give Goku some time to recuperate. And the final scene is Frieza and Goku basically teaming up together, going off this giant central pillar to do like a double tag team like punch at Jiren as all three of them get pushed off the ring. And so they get wiped out, and the ring is still there, and everyone's just kind of like, what? Why are we still here? And then you just see, like, cinematographically, like, Android 17 just kind of, like, rising up, still alive, and he's just looking up, and then it just gets called that Android 17 is the last one. The whole point...
He's the ultimate fighter.
The whole point of the Universe Survival Tournament, groups of fighters from each universe, except for a few, because of plot, are fighting, and whenever all the fighters from a team get wiped out, that universe is gone. Wiped from existence. Because there's this pair of beings who are both called Xeno. They're the blue teardrop looking dudes who have the weird outfit. And basically, they are not fighters by any stretch of the imagination, but they have like unlimited power to control anything and everything. Dragon Ball Super. And the winner is able to use the Super Dragon Balls. Which means, as opposed to... Yeah. As opposed to a planet's restricted wish, or wishes, the Super Dragon Balls give a wish of unlimited potential.
I wish that Krillin would keep coming back.
And he did. But Android 17, in case you didn't know, after Cell had regurgitated him, or after he like came back, 17 was like, yeah, fuck this, I'm gonna go be a park ranger. He actually does care about animals and stuff.
As heroes often do.
Yes.
They become park rangers.
Yeah.
And because he had become very fond and very caring of animals and life, his wish was to bring back all the universes that had just been erased.
I see their plan.
Yep.
That way, the story can continue with the other universes wanting to challenge Goku.
Correct. As well as the super movie, all about Broly.
I
Great
think
time.
I've seen the Broly movie.
Broly is my spirit animal. in
He's-
that movie. He's not as fun as the original Broly.
He's more.
He's
than
better
one
than the
note,
original
though.
Broly.
Yeah.
I was about to say, before that second comment, I was about to say I heavily disagree.
Because I will say, like, not that I dislike Dragon Ball Z, but to me, Broly, the original Broly, just is that entire show put into a character.
Yeah.
Like that's why I love him, because he's so ridiculous.
Do you know much about Broly?
I watched 3 of the 4 Broly movies.
Did you watch Bio Broly?
I think I watched Bio Broly.
Bio Broly is just. I hate it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, what other reaction could you possibly have?
The only good part about it, not to sound like Eric, was the fact that 18 was in it.
Do you remember that? Like, we blew him up so hard that he splattered on the walls, and then scientists are like, "Let's make him again. What could possibly go wrong?"
Yeah.
And so they scoop him off the wall and clone him, and then he just is a Bio Broly.
Yep.
And then he's like, "I'm even angrier," and they're like, "Oh God, we couldn't have seen this coming," and then they all died.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Pretty good scientist story.
I.
You were so preoccupied with whether you could or you couldn't, you never stopped to ask yourself if you should. That's a quote from
The Jurassic Park
the hit movie Jurassic Park.
That's a really good movie.
Part 1 of 7.
Jurassic Park movies.
God, really?
It's something like that. It's somewhere between 5 and 7.
I stopped at the Lost World, man. I'm so out of it.
Yeah, so am I.
You have so many more annoying kids to catch up on.
I'm not, but I will take your word for it.
Broly. Did you watch Super?
Eric introduced me to the Broly movie, the Super Broly movie.
Did you watch it all the way through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saw that
Because
shit in theaters. That was a good time.
I saw it, I think, twice in theaters.
Wow, bunch of nerds.
I love... Dude, I love the fight scene between Broly, Goku, and Vegeta. I love that fight so much. I'm sorry, Ian, but I had to make a point by slapping the table that you probably caught. Anyway. Ivan, in the Sunday D&D group, who we have mentioned a few times, him and his girlfriend got me a Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta figurine that is over by my computer.
Okay.
Gogeta in all forms is my boy. I love that boy. And it made me so displeased to find out when I originally did that GT was not canon.
You enjoyed the Super Saiyan 4 fusion.
Oh my god. I loved it so much, Danny.
I actually enjoyed it as well. I did enjoy GT. I think I'm one of 1 people.
2. Because there's 2 of us at the table.
There's literally 2s of us.
But
So I guess I'm just...
Did you
2.
like GT?
I never
you
watched
watch
it.
GT?
I stopped after Cell.
Universally hated.
universe.
I know people didn't like it. I just remember, like, Goku looks really weird in his super form in that one.
He has Super Saiyan 4. He's like a red monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most of the series, he's just Kid Goku again.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty funny.
He gets
Right, don't they have, like, the daughter of Goku and what's-her-face?
Pan.
And she's awful?
No. It's
Go.
Gohan and Videl.
Gohan, that's right.
Pan.
And her name is Pan, and she is the unfortunate person of the lineage. Because she can't go Super Saiyan.
She's the really bratty one, right?
Yes.
I can't stand bratty characters, so that makes sense.
But the fact that the only iterations of Gogeta that were in anything Dragon Ball related were in a movie, were in the Super movie, and GT, because the show only cared about Vegito, it made me sad. Because I loved literally the fight between Gogeta and Janemba. Where Gogeta is just like, yeah, have this rainbow sparkle that literally just destroys Janemba in one hit. As I'm just like, all right.
I know you haven't seen it. I haven't either. It's the scene in Digimon, which, by the way, where does Digimon fall on your guys' tables?
I really enjoy Digimon.
You like Digimon?
I did not watch a lot of it, but what I did watch, I enjoyed.
Okay.
It's like I think between the the animes for Pokemon, Digimon, I prefer Digimon.
Okay. I did not watch much of it. I thought it was very cheesy.
Fair.
I was very more into Pokemon. But the scene in the episodes when it's time to end the fight and they reach the new rank of Digimon.
Where the whistle goes like...
Oh no, that's every episode. That's like 10 minutes of every episode is devoted to that damn whistle just constantly screaming at me. Like it's trying to hype me up and it's just making me want to turn champ. Anyway, when they hit the next level of evolution, that is just... They upscale the fight over the thing they're fighting. And then it just plays the happy-go-lucky, hey Digimon, champions of the digital. That's like all the tension is straight gone. Because it's like, the song's playing, here it comes. It's at least with like Power Rangers, when they go to do their ultimate sword attack, it's like an attack. And you get to see him swing and you see explosions. It's just like the Digimon song plays and I'm just like, all right.
Did you ever see any of the Digimon people, like the big bad guys, get fucked up?
No.
Well, so tonight when I'm over, I'm going to show you War Greymon killing Metal Seedramon. Because he literally turns into like a tornado thing and goes into his mouth and just travels the inside of him and just blends him and then comes out his ass, murdering him like that.
So, the last thing I will say, because we probably should end this episode soon. We are over 2 hours. So
we still got our second thing we got to talk about too.
We could save it.
We could save it.
Next time.
I also do think that the second one, I feel it has been addressed.
It might have been.
Oh, I got a few I can talk about briefly after we want.
Your final point.
The final point I was going to say, actually in regards to Digimon, there was one plot that definitely threw me for a loop. I have no idea what season it would have been.
The Cogs.
I don't. All I know is that it was the dude that woke up after like years of just being stuck in the digital world, and he was the boss. He was the villain, and he was like, he just woke up, and he was like, "What do I do with my life?"
I guess here I go killing again.
And just like that, when I saw that, I was just like, okay. I guess that's a thing. Sure. All right.
The Cogs, man. The Cogs.
I don't remember.
It's all about...
The Cogs were like a big thing in season 1.
I don't remember the Cogs.
Yeah,
basically, it would just go in someone and it would turn them bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's it.
It was like the sadness balls from Courage the Cowardly Dog, but they were just badness Cogs.
They were change of heart Cogs.
The champions would beat them up, and then the Cog would go like... and leave.
And it would like explode into like a really early Avengers like particle effect.
It's Xana!
From what?
Oh, from
Code Lyoko.
Oh my god.
Okay, where does Code Lyoko fall?
Still not good. I've never hated it.
Still not good is where I would put it.
It is, after watching like 50 episodes on Netflix, it is, I don't know how I got that far because it is hard to watch.
It was all right for me.
I mean, I do really like that picture I did of the one girl with the giant forehead, and it made it look like a Gorillaz album cover. That was a fun memory from that show.
One more show comes to mind now.
Mm-hmm.
Reboot.
Gross.
That
I never
was a
watched
negative
it.
one?
That was a negative one. That is one I would change it because I thought it looked so gross. I still think it looks so gross.
Okay. Did you watch Reboot? Do you remember what it...
I'm trying to remember if it's the same show I'm thinking of.
Megabyte.
Really?
What's
I
the
should take
girls-
that. Just really early CG.
What's the girl's hexadecimal?
I think I may have watched a little bit of Reboot.
Okay, John. Besides how gross it is, because it is very early CG,
Okay.
you would love this show. Not even in an ironic sense.
Like, legit, I had, like, a lot of friends that really liked it
This
when I was
show
young.
is good.
Doesn't everything look like the giant robotic mech Ivan Ooze?
No.
Worse.
No. You're misremembering.
Probably.
No,
The animations were choppy and the characters didn't look great.
It looks slightly better than the PS1 cutscene they added for Final Fantasy IV when they ported it. Which I'm sure you haven't seen it, but it's not good. It is not good.
Yeah.
You would like it if you gave it the chance. Because it has a very good story to it.
I don't know if I'd be willing to give it a chance is the problem.
That's fair. That is fair.
I would be willing to watch it with you. I'd have to watch it with you.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to watch it by myself. Because
It's-
I'm going to not.
It's one of those shows where, like, season 1 is just episodic and there's no real plot. Mm-hmm. But then it takes off. And I think it's like 4 seasons.
Okay.
And the 4th season just is a straight time jump. And things have gotten so much worse. And it's just, what the hell happened to these people? But it progresses and it leads to it. And it has like a huge over arc. And it's so greatly put together.
Okay.
And some of the characters are terrible. But it's basically Tron. It's in the view of inside a computer.
Sure.
And the characters are the players, us as players, we would load up a game and they would be forced to jump in and play. Mm-hmm. And if the player ever won, wherever that game started in the city, it basically leveled that part of the city. So the AI, the people living in the computer, had to always win. Because I believe anyone inside could be destroyed as well. Enter Megabyte, a virus, who is just like, let's get some of that action. So he's constantly trying to mess up the games and stuff. The human players are usually pretty crappy. They're not great. But he's got, what's his name? Bob? Such a bad name for me. Sorry to all Bobs everywhere, but he's got a wristwatch that he calls Glitch, and it helps him cheat in these games. So whenever he needs an edge, he'll be like, Glitch, go do something, and it would just... The show is really good. It just needs a chance. That's all I'm saying. Anyone out there who likes or dislikes Reboot, give it a chance to be happy.
Do we want to do the second topic, or do we want to save that?
I really want to do the second topic.
All right.
I mean, we could always chop it up, too. If
That's up to Ian.
That is up to Ian. Ian, we love you.
Sorry.
All right. So why don't you start us off then? What's the second topic?
The stuff from kids shows that really freaked you out.
That freaked you out.
Either legit scared you or still slightly haunt you, or still haunt you to this day in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Because I was talking to you about this today when you were at work.
Mm-hmm. So why don't you start us off?
So Rugrats, already gross looking.
It is.
So
Especially like the first episode.
It's a Klasky. I can never pronounce that studio, but they got that. It's a unique style.
Oh, that first episode is so rough watching it now because they look so much worse. Everyone looks worse.
Isn't it that like everything looks just really dumpy?
That is a great term for it.
Everything is lumpy.
And
Lumpy dumpy.
Lumpy dumpy.
So, do you recall, John, the episode, The Mega Diaper Babies?
Maybe.
It's where they were all superheroes. I forget everyone but Lil. She was dotted line girl. Anyone could see a dotted line. That's what Angelica, who was the bad guy.
She's like, how did you how did you see me? And she's like, any idiot can see a dotted line. And just...
Yeah. But
maybe vaguely, not super clear.
But so there was they were fighting Angelica as a big robot, tyrant, and
as you do,
and as you do, and in the end they win, and she gets blown up, but it just blows her like face covering off, and it had like this really like weird robot like face under it.
Okay,
and I remember as a kid, it always like really bothered me. Which to me, like robot without like face without skin, to me is it's really weird looking.
Okay.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. Not that. That's a fun creepy idea, but it's not scary to me.
Oh.
But I remember, so Danny and I were like, what, 18, 19? Mm-hmm. This was like, I was like, hey man, do you remember this episode? Mm-hmm. And Danny's like, vaguely. It's like, let's find it online and let's watch it. So we watch it, and I remember we got to that scene and it showed it. Mm-hmm. And both of us were just like, ugh. Like we were both like, yeah, it's kind of unsettling looking.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then there was the episode paired with it where Angelica had a nightmare that her parents were going to have another kid.
Yeah. Yep. This one would be one of mine as well.
And it was just this giant, gross baby brother of hers, like just essentially like trying to remove her from the
universe,
not the universe, but just from her family's life.
Okay.
And he's like coming and be like, yeah, no, you're going to be forgotten.
Mm-hmm. I'm the new baby.
Like, I'm the new center of attention. Yep. We're in a fever dream, hellish nightmare version of reality right now. Mm-hmm. And
it gets out of hand.
He's like, I think he pretty much says like, you need to leave or else I'm going to like end you, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no. And he's like, okay, well then I'm going to fucking kill you. And he doesn't say kill you, but he's like, he's coming after her, and it's really creepy. Let's see, guys, I can't remember. Do you remember the episode where Chucky was afraid of the sweater under his bed?
I remember the plot. I don't remember anything about it.
The way it was drawn was really creepy. Because there's a point where he looked underneath, and they drew out like the monster that he saw, and that looked creepy.
Okay.
Let's see, Doug. There was the.
Oh, okay, well, Doug's a new show. Where did you watch Doug?
A little bit of it.
Would you place it on the not very either way? Or did you enjoy it as well?
I didn't have any issues with it. From what I remember.
I would place it on the slightly positive side because I did watch a lot of it.
It wasn't bad.
Oh, Hey Arnold was good, though.
Hey Arnold was good.
Anyway, continue. Doug.
So there was the episode where there was that horror movie, and him and all his friends went to go see it, and it got to the point where the monster like popped up, and Doug was freaked out by it, so like he hit his face. Mm-hmm. And you started having like nightmares about it later in the episode. And I remember there's a scene where in one of the nightmares, like him and Skeeter are like riding down this street. It's hella windy. The sky's like this really eerie, like blood red. And there's just the trees have these really just fucking creepy faces they're like sad and moaning looking in them.
Okay.
Yeah, that freaked me out as a kid.
Just that scene?
That scene. The monster looked pretty creepy too. But then again, I was like 5 or 6 when I was watching this, so. Let's see, there's that, going back to Dragon Ball Z, there's that episode where Cell absorbed that guy really slow and made Piccolo watch.
17. Or was it 18?
Cell absorbed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. It's
the normal guy.
Yeah, he just is like sucking this guy dry as he's like monologuing.
The Dragon Ball Z, the DBZ abridged version is like, want to see me eat this guy? Yeah.
Yeah, like, to me that's really gross, and I'll still avoid that if I can nowadays.
May I go next, Danny?
Yeah, I do need time to think.
Because mine will be... You're not going to get much time, sorry. I was one of those kids that nothing really impacted me like that.
Okay.
I was more of a sponge, and where I was just taking it in.
There were no movies that creeped you out.
There was only one. And it was when I was like... Maybe like 10, maybe 9 or 10. Mm-hmm. I think it was like... It was either a Jason or a Freddy movie.
Okay.
And just for some reason, I watched that on a Halloween special. And there was like a night or two where I had a hard time sleeping at night. Because it was just dark. And I'm just like... And I'd hear like a random noise. And I'm just like... But other than that, like shows and stuff like that, never affected me like that.
Okay. So as for me, there's only one, like the little brother episode with Rugrats was definitely that would have been one of mine as well. For me, growing up, my family never watched The Simpsons. It was considered too crude.
Same.
Yeah,
like I was not allowed to watch that. Like in my entirety of living with my parents.
There's one exception. For some reason, we were allowed to watch the Halloween specials, which was just spoofs of movies. It was just episodic. And so, there's creepy themes and stuff. At one point, the teachers are eating the kids. They'd send them to detention, and then they'd kill them, and then cook them, and then the food was delicious, so they'd send more kids to. So by the end, they're all like overweight, and there's like 3 kids in the class. But anyway, the one that got me as a kid, and I can't even explain why, but it's as one of those episodes are ending. I think Bart wakes up from that specific thing because he's about to get killed and turned into food. He wakes up and it turned out to just be a bad dream, and so he's like, "Oh man, he's with the family." He's like, "I just had the worst dream." And they're like, "Oh no, you don't even have to worry about that. The only thing you have to worry about is there's like a gas that when you smell it, it just turns you inside out." And they're like, "But that's outside, that won't get in." And like there's like a crack in the window and it seeps in, and they all just like inhale it and they turn inside out, and it's like grotesque. And then they're just like standing there like, and then they like tap dance and like leave, and it's just I think Santa's little helper, the dog, like grabs Bart by the leg and just runs off because it's like this is meat now.
Yeah.
But like I don't know why, but for some reason like it hit me later. I don't know if it was that night or like later in the week or what, but I was like, is there a gas that actually turns people inside out? That looked so painful. It's like the Magic Man, like
we're just going, magic. Just
the first time
burn inside out.
The first time Magic Man shows up in Adventure Time.
It's Tom Kenny, by the way.
Of course.
He like, I'm not really an old beggar. I'm actually a magic man. And like, he holds his hand out and a bird lands. He like looks at it and just does a little hand motion and goes, "Magic." And the bird just pulls itself inside out. Yeah. And he like, "Away." And he like throws it and just goes like onto the ground. It's just like,
the way he says magic. It's just so graceful and full of like life and love. And it's just like
but like
the gas,
just the concept of a gas that could turn you inside out just for only breathing it, for some reason, just hit me really hard when I was a kid.
Does that still bother you to this day?
I know now that gas is nowhere near the USA, so I'm okay.
I was going to say,
Also,
how would you feel if that happened in D&D, though?
Gas that turns us inside out?
Yeah.
In D&D, would it just... Is it an instant death, or would it...
I got him triggered. I got him, Kevin.
What are the details here? Would I just have to be inside out?
You don't know.
It's John Dimming, you never know.
You have no idea. I'll ask Ogma if such a gas exists.
So
I'll ask him why.
I feel a need to take a big step back to my positive shows, because I feel a need to bring this up because it's only fair.
Do you have another addition to the positive shows?
Of course.
Okay.
How can I go about my life without mentioning Star Trek?
Yeah.
Was that a childhood show? How?
I started watching it with my parents.
What show did you start with?
I believe it was...
TNG.
I think it was TNG. But I was still too young to where I don't remember much of it. And I didn't quite grasp it.
Okay.
But
I'd also watched a lot of Star Trek when I was young.
That's good times.
Very good times. Well, I feel like we have gone a little long on this one. Just a smidge compared to last time.
We had more to talk about.
We did. We really dragged out that first topic. In a good way.
Yeah.
But, any closing thoughts as we round out the episode?
I'm shocked to hear that you didn't like
Samurai Jack.
Oh, my tastes were shit when I was a kid.
I'm shocked to hear this. I don't know.
I was way different when I was a kid.
I legit don't know anyone who has like actual complaints about that show. Like, I do not like the show for this reason. You know, It was so good, even like artfully and just as a show.
Yeah.
The episode where he's being hunted by the 4 hunters, and he's trying everything to break them off his trail. These hunters were hired by a coup. And
are you talking about the beginning of?
It's pretty early.
Okay, I was about to say.
No. It's like 4. They look like lion people, kind of.
Yeah.
But they're just tracking him down, and everything he does, they are onto it. And you see him do like this crazy thing and leave, and then they track it and they look at it, and then they just follow it, and they're like, well, one of them will try and go this way, and the other ones will stop and be like, this way. And
is that one of the ones where they don't talk a lot?
They don't talk at all.
That's great.
And like it gets to the end, and it's to the point where he's literally like, he lost his. They disarmed him. They've taken everything. He's just on the run, and they climb this building, and it's like rainy, and they're just swarming him, and he is just trying, and they overpower him, and they beat him, and they capture him, and then they just let him go, and they're like, you are by far the best thing we've ever hunted, and Aku does not deserve you, basically.
Wow, that's awesome.
And that's how it ends. And I was just like, whew.
That show's so fucking good. I love it.
That's one of the story tropes that I love. There's so many story tropes from like shows of that time that if you pick up on it or you rewatch it and pick up on it, these characters that are shown to be villains. Essentially villains.
Yeah. For our hero, they are the villain.
For that purpose. And then turn out to be like that, like almost like heart of gold type of mentality, and where they're just like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
We won't do this because it's not right. I love that shit. And I'm really hoping, not to bring it to a more selfish point, that the D&D campaign show some of those tropes.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
As time often does.
Any other closing comments before we wrap it up?
Ed, Edd n Eddy is just the worst thing. Not true. That's hyperbole.
The Day that Ed Stood Still was a really great episode. Do you remember that one, John?
Which one was that?
That was the one where they dress Ed up like a monster, and then he just like
he becomes
a monster and just starts hunting the kids in the cul-de-sac down one by one.
And basically does like an alien scene where he just puts them all in like egg sacs.
No, he takes the cereal Chunky Puffs.
Oh yeah.
He just he'll put in his mouth and chew it up, then he'll spit it on the wall and then just like stick them to it.
Yep. And then I'll probably say one of the weird, like not weirdest, but one of my favorite episodes of Ed, Edd n Eddy is the one where the physics just don't exist.
Yeah, that one was really good too.
Literally,
they straight remove Jimmy's outline,
and he just turns to muck. There's another scene in there where Eddie's just like, "Oh, I'm hungry." He grabs the sun, takes a bite out of it, and then it becomes nighttime, and it's just the moon.
Is there a particular reason why they're doing all that?
No. That's just the episode.
The episode is just really wacky and out of nowhere.
It was just, I guess, like the storyboard was just like, go wild.
So it was like basically a substitute teacher day in school.
Kind of. Well, it was more like I think it wasn't it something to the effect of like, they were just like, hey, artists, have a field day.
If that was the case, I don't know.
It was something to that effect.
I haven't seen that episode. I'd have to watch it to...
You won't watch it.
If it's on. If one of you guys finds that episode of Ed, Edd n Eddy...
I do have. I think it's HBO Max that's on it. I can watch it on that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another good thing about the Day that Ed Stood Still is they don't show the monster for like a good chunk. They don't show Ed as the monster for like a good chunk of it. Mm-hmm. So it's just a really fun watch because you just see them being like taken.
It's literally like, it's an Ed, Edd n Eddy version of an Alien movie.
Okay.
Where, like you said, you don't see him. Like I think you see him initially put in the outfit.
You see it from his point of view where they put the helmet on,
And then
you just
you just while it's the scene where they put him in it, and he's just looking around and like looking at like Ed and Eddie, and then you just kind of hear him just going like, and you're watching as the eyes kind of get like that blood rage,
red.
that bloodlust.
It's so dumb.
I love it so much.
And then he just like, because they're doing it in one of the like either Double D or Eddie's garage, and then he just like busts through the garage door and just leaves.
And he's just gone.
Were they putting him in a suit so they could charge people?
Yeah, for some scam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Standard Eddie scam.
Yeah.
Oh, was it quick side note, remember the episode where they made the entire fucking city out of cardboard?
Yes.
I wanted to do that so bad when I was a kid. I want a Gmod level of that.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, well, if there's nothing else, or if this is a good time, which I think it probably should be.
Might as well stop here, because I can keep going on about these.
Yeah, so can I, for a while. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cushions of the couch empire. Here we have been at the Par for the Couch square table. Shit. What's the word?
Communion.
There we go. Thank you, Danny. We have been here. You have been there. Thank you for listening.
They've also been here.
Of course. We here at the table, thank you all for listening.
Yes, indeed.
Ian.
Love you.
Has some emotion for you all.
Ian, quick, give us your list of favorite shows and least favorite cartoon shows.
And why.
Ooh, thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good one. Ian, did you ever watch Sailor Moon?
You know he did. You've seen his room. He's got posters up.
I've never seen Ian's room.
What?
Watch out, Milton's right there.
You mean I've been in Ian's room and you haven't?
Yeah, that's kind of upsetting. What the fuck, Ian?
That's pretty messed up, Ian.